Oh, well, everybody know who I want next. I want Terrence Crawford next.
You're going to make that happen?
Huh?
You're going to make that happen?
Oh, definitely. That's the fight that I want. That's the fight everybody else want. Like I said, I'm going to get these straps that I'm going to go over there and take his shit too.
All right. Errol, congratulations. Terrific fight this evening.
Thank you, man. Down. Strap season. I know what time it is, baby. Terrence, I'm coming for that motherfucking belt.
All right.
I'm not catching fades anymore. Gotta keep my hands clean when they come for the board. Keep it smooth like a dawn, making moves in the dark. Cause I learned how to swim in the pool full of sharks. Now they coaches, cause they can't read all his motions. How the kid never switch codes, but he code switch focus. Staring down your team with a frozen ice cold look that could end the summer solstice. Cause I'm more like the top dog. Keep on running game and the gang will accost y'all. I be calling plays from a plane while I'm off court. But we ain't the same, you a lame, I'm a mob star. Actually, I'm a top dog on a stat sheet. Off court, but I call plays for the athlete. Laughing when the cop cars try to catch me. Cause I rolled off in a taxi. With my feet up, I'm relaxing. Singing Figaro with no accent. While I pour strings from the streets in. Do it all with a straight face, I'm the kingpin. Top dog, top flow, boss mode. I'm the kingpin. Showstopper, top dog, God vibes. I'm the kingpin. They know I'm a dog and a beast, man. Yeah, I keep the peace with a piece, man. I ain't got no time for a piece, man. Why would I respond to a pawn? I'm the... Hold up.
If I let my dogs off the leash, then you might want to get out of Dodge by the evening. Honestly, think it's not the blood and the beat. If they don't leave anything behind at the evening.
I can see you soft, ever thought about retreating. If you never have, then they'll give you a reason. Better watch your tone, lose your bass when you speaking. Underneath the mask is the wrath of a... When you learn how to smile in their face, then go cutthroat. Then they wanna call you a con when the blood cold. I remember starving while y'all had a truckload. Now I'm with the mob with the call and the gusto. I'm a top dog on a stat sheet. Off court, but I call plays for the athlete. Laughing when the cop cars try to catch me. Cause I rolled off in a taxi. With my feet up, I'm relaxing. Singing Figaro with no accent. While I pour strings from the streets in. Do it all with a straight face, I'm the kingpin. Top dog, top flow, boss mode. I'm the kingpin. Showstopper, top dog, God vibes. I'm the kingpin.
What's going on, everybody? You know what I'm saying? It's full kind of boxing. What's going on, Shafo? What's happening, my brother? You know what I'm saying? Yes, sir. I know it's shocking. You know what I'm saying? And to choose Sugar Shane Mosley, you said when this happened. As a matter of fact, he helped Devin Haney get ready for the Ramirez fight. Okay, so that was Devin Haney under Sugar Shane, training. So of course that was their first fight together. So you can't expect, Devin to already, change, even though we saw a small change in how he was trying to punch his punching technique, in that Ramirez fight. Of course, he didn't knock out Ramirez, but we could see a change, in how he's trying to attack. Of course, it was his first fight back, and the fight, he's still a little gun shy, in his approach, right? Because he can't afford to lose at this moment after, coming off a devastating, tremendous loss, ass whipping, really, saying to Ryan Garcia. So he got to rebuild himself up to, get that confidence, saying where he was taking risks before. And before, you kind of feel invincible. You feel invincible, like, saying, before you get knocked out, saying, you feel like you could do anything. Like right now, Shakur Stevenson, I mean, he looked like he could do anything. He's ready to fight anybody. But if you take a devastating, ass whooping like Haney took to Ryan Garcia, it takes a minute to get your confidence back. The man took a whole year off, which I'm glad he did, because if he would have came back probably any sooner, he just would have probably took another ass whipping because his confidence is down. That's why somebody got to tell these fighters, say take some time off. You know what I'm saying? If you suffer, a horrific loss, or you have a controversial fight, find out what you did wrong. Take time to, to correct, saying your flaws or your holes in your game, and get that shit together. And I think that's what Devin is doing right now. You know what I'm saying? Devin is going to retool, right? And I know a lot of people say, Devin, he don't have any punching power. He got pillow fists, but he's got great footwork, and he's got that jab, right? So they're under the impression that all they need is, more technique and another perspective, what I'm saying, on how to approach uh, the boxing, right? So they went and grabbed Sugar Shane Mosley, because Devin has been kind of like, he's kind of been like a nomad, traveling from different gyms and trying to get different insights on how to improve, right? So he went to Floyd Mayweather, saying we seen him go, to different gyms trying to get better. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing that I love about Devin Haney, is that he knows he's not the perfect fighter, right? He's just improving on his craft. He's just a gym rat that stays in the gym, trying to, keep improving. And as long as you do that, what I'm saying, you're gonna beat a lot of people, right? Because he's learning every day and he's improving every day, right? You know what I'm saying? So they picked up Sugar Shane Mosley, to keep the conflict between him and his father down, because Bill ran into, a lot of he rubbed a lot of feathers the wrong way, what I'm saying, in this boxing community, going on different platforms, talking shit, what I'm saying, and that rubbed a lot of the people, that turned a lot of people against Dev. Because if you really look at Dev, he's not the type of dude, even though he'll jump in somebody's face like he jumped in Brian Norman's Jr. face, what I'm saying, and trying to act tough. We know he's not a tough guy. He's not a shit talker. He don't really talk shit very well. He's kind of like a guy that went to private school, and you're like, yeah, right. You know what I'm saying? You're looking at Devin Haney like, bro, you ain't about to do shit. And Brian Norman seemed like he's one of them tough ass kids that'll knock your ass out. And so it just kind of came off kind of cringy, what I'm saying, to see Devin trying to jump bad, because that's not really him. That's not his personality, and you could tell. So, to bring in Sugar Shane Mosley, maybe this is kind of giving him, a little added confidence, what I'm saying? Because I think Devin always wanted to be a puncher. What I'm saying? I think he kind of comes from the idea that if he moves up in weight, his punching power will come into play at some point, gaining weight, getting his man strength type shit together. You know what I'm saying? And I don't really think he just I just don't think he's gonna get there with the punching power, but I do think he can improve on his boxing ability, you know. And Floyd Mayweather, I can't say him because Floyd had power, a little power down at the lighter weight divisions. You know what I'm saying? He was knocking people down. But and then a lot of people think that, because Dev doing snack, that he's gonna, somehow, appear in the ring with some kind of magical punching power. I don't think it's gonna work like that for him. But if you keep on, trying out, saying these different trainers like Sugar Shane Mosley, Sugar Shane Mosley, they got something in common. Of course, they both fighters, so they were both champion fighters. Sugar Shane Mosley, so he's a three-division welterweight world champion, because he won titles down at lightweight. He won titles at 147, where he fought Oscar De La Hoya and won split decision. And then he went up to 154 and won up there, right? So that's where his shit ended. You know what I'm saying? Because that's all he could do. Because he ran into Vernon. What's his last name? Vernon. I forgot Vernon's last name. But Vernon destroyed him. You know what I'm saying? So but he got a lot done, and he knows how to punch, right? Because he timed Floyd Mayweather, you know what I'm saying, with that infamous punch, that famous punch, you know what I'm saying, that almost took Floyd out, you know what I'm saying. And what Floyd said to, I don't know if it was Chop Chop or it was Sugar Shane Mosley, where he told, I think it was Chop Chop, where he told him, say, you got to kill me, you know what I'm saying. Floyd said, you got to kill me in the ring, right? And that's what Floyd is crazy like that. But as far as Mosley, he's got that heart too. You seen that fight, them two fights with Oscar De La Hoya. So he's got that killer mentality, and I think that's something that Devin Haney's need. He's need that killer, even though he got the heart. He just need to, build up his mentality, especially after that the defeat by Ryan Garcia. So he got to build himself up. And I could see him where he's trying to puff himself up, and he's got the right guy who got the killer mentality because he comes from the old school. Sugar Shane comes from that old school. Because if you saw how he fought Vernon, they went all out, bro. They went all out, and he still couldn't beat Vernon, right? It was just a bad matchup, but he still had the heart to go out there and go out on his shield, right? So he's going to teach Haney a few things, not going out on the shield, but he's going to teach him, saying how to time. I think Sugar Shane Mosley time, of course, the speed that Sugar Shane possessed back then. You know what I'm saying? He's going to try to teach Sugar Shane Mosley. Sugar Shane Mosley's going to try to teach Devin how to get that time and get that meanness, win the crack, you know what I'm saying? And try to, I don't know how it's going to work, you know what I'm saying? But I do know that Sugar Shane Mosley has something that he can like, like, help Devin mentality with, you know what I'm saying? Help with some of his techniques. And I think just working with Sugar Shane Mosley is going to give him the ability to, get that confidence to try some of these things, because they're saying he's working on new combinations, new ways to attack, new angles, you know what I'm saying? So this might be something good for Devin Haney. Now, you know what I'm saying, to defeat Brian Norman Jr., because I'm pretty sure all they're expecting from Devin is, you know what I'm saying, the 1-2 jab from the outside. Now, wouldn't it be interesting with Sugar Shane Mosley, you know what I'm saying? Sugar Shane Mosley, you remember his tech, he's kind of rushing from the outside, kind of like a Russell, Gary Russell type style, you know what I'm saying, where he kind of ambush you and come in, you know what I'm saying, throw that right, you know what I'm saying, and get your ass, hit you with that bam, and then your ass fucked up like he did Mayweather. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people don't have the same kind of boxing IQ. Mayweather just held onto that arm so he wouldn't go down. And it was a good ass fight. And so I think he's gonna do a lot of good in Devin Haney's camp. And of course, once again, he worked with Devin Haney for that Ramirez fight, that Jose Ramirez fight. And he didn't look like, I wasn't confident that Devin was, 100%, but he did outbox Ramirez, and that was, like I said, that was Devin's first fight back after a year off. So, you're going to be a little attentive, but and also Jose Ramirez, he was out for a little while. So, it was a good tune-up for him to dive into the 147 division. Do I think that's the division where Devin's going to, thrive? Hell no. I don't think I don't think that's a good division for him at all. I don't think that's a good division for him at all. But he is going against a champion, an IBF champion. Um, Brian Norman Jr. He's gaining with a lot of pride. He's getting this fight is it's high profile because everybody knows who Devin Haney is, but very few people know who Brian Norman Jr. is. He's kind of like a gym or sparring champion, you know what I'm saying? Because he's given a lot of the top fighters a lot of trouble in the gym, right? He sparred with Terrence Crawford, you know what I'm saying? And he sparred with damn near a lot of people, and they say good things about him, you know what I'm saying? They say he got hands like bricks. He's got a lot of power and he's got a lot of skill, you know what I'm saying? So If your peers say that about you, then you must be hell out there. You know what I'm saying? Because they're not going to sit back and lie on you, right? You got Shakur Stevenson saying good things about you. You got, a lot of fighters saying, this man is solid. So, that's coming from his peers. So he must be pretty damn good. Now, I've seen his fights, and the only reason it's hard to go by that because those guys that he fought, they're not really, you know, elite, elite fighters, I would say. Fighters that, we see every day, so that we say, yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? That dude there, he cold with it, you know what I'm saying? So, this Devin Haney fight is Brian Norman's signature fight. And I do think that even though people don't know who Brian Norman Jr. is, I think because of his pedigree, his family, you know what I'm saying, coming from a boxing family like the Mayweathers, coming, the Haneys, you know what I'm saying, coming, he got a good pedigree, coming the Ennises, he's coming from a boxing family. And so I think that's going to make the difference, than, the talent level, you know what I'm saying, and the confidence that Brian Norman Jr. exudes is crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy work, man, because they do that like he already been there. And I think that fight is going to be on another level than we think. And depending on how Devin, looks, depends on what he learns from Sugar Shane Mosley. We might get one of the most exciting fights that we ever seen Dev fight because hopefully he don't get into the mentality that he can do what he did against Brian, right? Try to go in there and square up with Brian Norman Jr. because I do believe he will get knocked out if he don't come with some serious boxing skills and moving his feet and working from the outside, right? If you try to fight Brian on the inside, I think it's gonna be night for him. It's gonna be night. You know what I'm saying? Because is a excellent inside fighter. He could jab from the outside, but that's not really where I seen him shine. And maybe he just do what he got to do, from what his opponents do in the ring. Because I haven't seen him do like the outside type thing until a fighter gets broken down, and then you can see him jab, you can see him pick his spots, and come with the power. And I was like, yeah, Brian is really good. He's really a really solid professional, right? But I haven't ever seen him do anything amazing. I just seen his punching power. I've seen him fight well on the inside, and I've seen him very, very smart punch selection. He likes to go to that body, and if he gets to Devin's body somehow, because Devin is going to be on the move, but somehow if Brian somehow could track him down and get to his body, what I'm saying, it could be the end of Devin Haney, right? But Devin's gonna, have to keep Brian off him, and I think that's why he's making this move, saying, to put a little bit more power into his punches so he can rely on, say having enough pop to keep this guy off him. Because I do believe this is going to be a fight. I think it's going to be a fight, you know. And I know a lot of people thinking like, man, this is a Devin Haney, man. All he gonna do is be timid and box from the outside. I beg to differ. Excuse me. I beg to differ. You know what I'm saying? Because this card is interesting, you know what I'm saying? Because it's a lot of good fights on there, It's a lot of good fights on this damn card. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you got David Benavidez versus Anthony Yard. You got of course, the Devin Haney fight. You got Abdullah Mason versus Sam, I don't know how you say that, Nookies. And you got Bam on there facing for Fernando Martinez. You know what I'm saying? They fighting for shit, 3 belts, IBF, WBA, and the WBC. You know what I'm saying? So they are really, it's going to be a jam-packed night. And I think that's going to be, I, I think that's going to be a good ass fight. You said, so what you say, what's going on with all things? He says, Devin may have more pop at 147. And that's, what I'm saying, that's going to be the question. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be the real question. You know what I'm saying? Can Devin, raise his skill level, raise his power, and just become a better all around complete fighter? And without that power, and it's the same question we have for Shakur Stevenson, right? Same question that we have for Shakur, That's what O'Shaquie Foster was questioning Stevenson about he's not going to have enough power to keep Tio off of him. You know what I'm saying? Because coming out the southpaw stance, he was saying like the man is right hand dominated, and he thinks, or Shaggy Foster thinks that that's going to put him at a disadvantage. I was surprised to hear that Foster say that. You know what I'm saying? I was surprised to hear him come out the bag like that. But um, they said because Stevenson said that he was going to lose against Fulton, and that's the reason why he said that. But to me, it sounded like a pretty good constructive opinion, right? Excuse me, I'm trying to drink this damn water. So it sounded like they kind of like going back and forth, and you say something negative about me, I'm gonna say something right back at you, right? But maybe, I mean, is that a valid opinion? You know what I'm saying? That Stevenson, he really don't knock out people, especially, him moving up, in weight, like this here, you know what I'm saying? We'll see we'll see if Steven pick up some power, or, will he remain the same? But then it's interesting that, he's fighting another athletic fighter with power, and we got to see how Stevenson going to handle it. And it's the same with Devin Haney. Now they moving up in weight. They fighting the boys who can crack a little bit, right? So you kind of want to see, how their overall skill is going to work against these heavy hitters, right? Now we don't know about how good Brian Norman is, because, that division that he's in, what I'm saying, it's he's going to have to fight some more top elite guys to see where he at. You know what I'm saying? If he could fight Sabri Matias, or he could fight, you know what I'm saying? I ain't talking about Richardson. I think Richardson was put on the table for Tio, you know what I'm saying, in the what is it, 2 or 3 fight deal that the Turk was trying to set him up with. And he was going to be the first fight in that, you know what I'm saying? Of course, he was trying to set Tio up with Boots. And, you know what I'm saying? That, of course, Boots is up to 154 on to bigger and better things, right? But, of course, Tio, he got a lot of bullshit going on with his contracts and all that shit, So it's like you can never just do a straight deal with Tio and his team, which he has also restructured. It's got a lot of fighters, Tim Zoo, restructuring their whole management and all that stuff. So it's kind of hard to keep up, with what they got going on. Say the man says he's a free agent, Top Rank says he ain't a free agent, all this kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? Is he under extended contract or not? You know what I'm saying? So, but Tio's just he's also another one that kind of like Tank. He kind of like want to do what he want to do. But if Tio takes this Shakur Stevenson fight, I'm gonna tell you what, I'm gonna have a lot of respect for him. And if you go out there and whip Shakur Stevenson ass, I'm definitely gonna have a lot of respect for him. Um, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have a lot of respect for him. So, so that's kind of where it is. It's like, Devin, he's trying something new, you know. For years people have been saying, they got to get Bill up out of the corner. You know what I'm saying? He needs another perspective. He needs another look, you know what I'm saying, as far as training wise. And he's already suffering at that deficit, you know what I'm saying, from not having the power. It was okay at 135, right? Because you didn't have any, besides Tank, you didn't have any real mean punches down there. And so, you can kind of get through with boxing your way to the top. And one thing Devin could do is box, right? So that's his strong point, but as you start moving up and weight, now you got to deal with, what I'm saying, these guys that can crack you upside the head and put you down. And I think that's something that he's going to have. I'm surprised he's just not training with like the Mayweathers, because Mayweather is the master defensive guy. You know what I'm saying? That's who he really should be working with. But you never know what's going on behind the scenes. Why certain fighters won't work with the best. And I think Mayweather would be a better selection, you know what I'm saying, as far as getting your defense together, because that's what he needs. I don't think working on his power is going to help him much. You know what I'm saying? It might help him, technique wise, somehow put a little bit more emphasis on keeping guys off him. But I think Mayweather could teach you how to duck, you know what I'm saying, how to get inside that chest, you know what I'm saying, how to maneuver. But I don't think the shoulder roll really worked for Devin. You know what I'm saying? He just don't have He just don't have the timing or the understanding of it because I've seen him get tagged by JoJo Diaz. It looks like he get tagged by everybody. Once he tried to use that Philly shell, he used it wrong. He used it at the wrong time. The shit is just it's ugly. You know what I'm saying? It's ugly. Yeah. Yeah, Shane trained him for the last fight. You know what I'm saying? Jose Ramirez against Jose Ramirez, and I think they're just starting out. And you can see Sugar Shane Mosley in the gym with Devin Haney. Um, you know, what I'm saying getting him trained up. And Bill, Bill is trying to kind of step in the side a little bit and letting his boy grow, because that's the only way I think that Devin is going to get better. You know what I'm saying? If he start letting the true fighters, the true professionals come in and help his boy out, because either if you don't do that, then he's definitely going to get Falumaloom at some point in time. Because Devin, I mean Bill, he don't know, he's not a real trainer like what I'm saying, like a Bomac and his team. He just he need more than one trainer. He needs a team where he could just kind of work on different shit. You know what I'm saying? And I think that'll improve Dev and make him a whole better fighter. So, I'm excited to see what he looked like. You know what I'm saying? See if he look any different, you know. See if he looks any different. And I think he will. I think he will look a little different. I think that Devin Haney motivation is to, get back to that level where he was before he lost to Ryan, and he's gonna do everything to get back to being, that guy, that number one dude that everybody was looking to. You know what I'm saying? Because Devin was undefeated. They say he undefeated, but it's kind of hard to unsee what we saw with Ryan, right? So he looked very vulnerable. His chin didn't look as tough. You know what I'm saying? And I think Brian Norman is going to look at that fight, and I think he's going to be trying to crack that. He's going to be trying to break Devin ass down, right? Because I don't think Brian Norman Jr. has any fear at all of Devin Haney. You know what I'm saying? I think he wants to walk through him. I think he's ready. Now, the one thing I was like kind of tripping on was, why the fight took so, why it took so long to get signed and announced, right? So I did some research, and they were saying like, Brian wouldn't take the fucking VADA test, before he went on vacation or some shit like that. And I was like, damn. It's like, come on now. It's like, okay, I know you need to go on vacation and stuff, but sign the contract, bro. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know what's in the contract or nothing like that, or what's the particulars are about the contract. But I said, man, go ahead and sign the shit. Go ahead and take the test. Go take your ass on vacation, because we're tired of fights falling through like Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney. You know what I'm saying? I was looking forward to that shit, to see Tio and Dev, because that's like a damn grudge match, right? But with Tio tripping with the Turk, calling him a dictator, like a dictator, right? And just doing all these weird kind of antics and stuff like that. It's kind of hard to take him seriously. Because look like he'll do anything if he don't want to fight you to get up out of it. You know what I'm saying? Even insulting the guy who's financing the PBC, who's putting back boxing on the map. You know what I'm saying? Because if it wasn't for the Turk, I don't really see, PBC being able to put on fights for 2026, right? You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking up this stuff and I'm just like, damn, it's a lot of shit happened when I was out. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of shit. People are teaming up, you know what I'm saying? And the Turk must be got all kind of money, because he's taking these fighters and he's giving them the opportunity to fight these high profile fights, right? But then, you got somebody like Teofimo Lopez that's biting the hand that feeds him, right? So, Brian Norman Jr., he just re-signed with Top Rank, you know what I'm saying? So he said he believed in loyalty, you know what I'm saying? And, he said this is the home team, and he can't wait to build with Top Rank. You know what I'm saying? The first thing came to my mind though was Terrence Crawford, you know, back in 2018, you know what I'm saying? Terrence Crawford went back to Top Rank. You know what I'm saying? Brian said they were the first people to believe in him. And, he feels some kind of way about that. He said, shit, he feels loyalty to Bob Arum, to Top Rank, and, the way they do things. So I'm not mad at him. I'm not mad at Brian. A fighter got to do what's best for them, right? And we're not paying the salary. We just want to see him in the ring versus somebody, a great challenge. And I think Devin Haney is his biggest challenge. Saying we'll find out. We'll find out. Saying November 22nd, right? To see, if that's true, right? So, this is building up pretty nice. Saying they already got a lot of animosity towards each other, and really, it's just a lot of shit talking, and Brian just, he to me, he has the more menacing type of vibe, what I'm saying? He has the more, what I'm saying, the more concrete, what I'm saying, vibe, and maybe that's just because of where Devin came from being off for a year and everything. But Brian's, being active too. Um, you just kind of get the sense that Brian Norman Jr., saying he ready. He ready for war. Saying even though it took him a while to get in there and take care of business and everything. So, I was kind of curious about that. Why the fight wasn't signed, why it took so long. What's going on? What I'm saying? Let's go ahead and get this shit on. Saying there's gotta be a winner, there's gotta be a loser, right? So what you say? What's going on, Phoenix? What you say? He says, I'm a Devin hater, but one thing I can say is he wait, I'm a Devin hater. One thing I can't say is he ducked smoke. He said, I'll give him that one thing. But that's what you want. Um, that's what you want, bro. You don't want somebody who talk a lot of shit and then it just take them forever to sign the contract. What I'm saying? I don't know if these guys be trying to dodge that battle, what I'm saying? Because they do be doing shit. And I'm not gonna put that on Brian Norman Jr. Um, but what's the poking around for? If you get a big fight and if Devin ain't got no punching power, if he ain't got no punching power, why not just go ahead and take the fight? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't understand what's the holdup. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know if he had other deals in the mix, what I'm saying, maybe a better competition or maybe a higher price, or maybe they just be falling back to see what comes their way. I don't know. I know it's a business, what I'm saying? But I know once it's put out there that they want to get it in the ring, what I'm saying? Let's go towards that goal. Let's stop with the hesitation, what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure Brian Norman Sr., he knows this business and he's not going to let anything, uh, anybody take advantage of his son, right? And so I know there's a lot of back and forth going on social media about the business and what's going on. But that's when I found out that was one of the things that was kind of holding up everything. And I know Bill, he'll sensationalize that shit and piss a lot of people off. People are kind of tired of looking at Bill, what I'm saying? But I think he's just promoting his son, love or hate. Bill Haney is, they say good publicity, negative publicity, it don't fucking matter. You know what I'm saying? It's as long as you getting publicity out there, right? So, I think Bill is doing good by his son. You know what I'm saying? No matter if people hate him, what I'm saying, they're gonna tune in to see Devin get his ass kicked. You know what I'm saying? Even though Devin can't play the villain role, because he's more like a Sunday school kid, what I'm saying? He's like that perfect kid that you raise, he's respectful and all this stuff. Now I don't know the man personally, but just from what I see, what I'm saying, he looked like somebody you'll let your daughter date. You know what I'm saying? As far as Brian Norman Jr., I wouldn't let him nowhere near my daughters. And that nigga look like he'll be trying to dig in the drawers, like from the fucking first hour. You know what I'm saying? But Devin, he seemed like, he'll bring your daughter back home all nice and smooth. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't have to worry about that shit. You know what I'm saying? But, let me see. This is you said Bill is a great promoter for better for worse. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because he know the mentality of the regular average fan. They know they want to hear that shit talking, even though Devin can't do it very well. You know what I'm saying? Devin went to private school. You know what I'm saying? It's hard for him to act ignorant. You know what I'm saying? And that I hate to say it like that, but that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Devin, he just come off as a nice kid, you know. And also, you know what I'm saying, uh this is gonna prove to see if Devin, what I'm saying, can make it at 147. You know what I'm saying? This is gonna prove to see what kind of fighter, what kind of fighter he's going to be at 147. You know what I'm saying? What is he going to be? Just an average dude? Is he going to be a journeyman? You know what I'm saying? Because Brian Norman, man, if he can't beat Brian Norman, oh my lord, man, if you can't beat Brian, I don't know how you going to deal with anybody else. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, Boots is going for 147, which I am so glad. I'm so glad Boots moved up because I did not want to see that fight. And not because I'm scared for Devin. I just don't think Devin could fuck with Boots. And I think that would end, his journey kind of early if he fought Boots. Because I don't think he's strong enough to handle a big size welterweight like Boots, and Boots can maneuver and everything like that. Um, so I just don't think he's ready for that. So, but I think Brian Norman Jr. is perfect for him. And if he could get by Brian Norman Jr., yeah, yeah, I think he could kind of operate at that division. So I think he can operate at that division. He says Devin kicked his pregnant baby mama in the stomach allegedly. Yeah, but that's alleged. You know how heated it get when you talk about domestic stuff. Somebody get mad with you, and then all of a sudden you're the worst person in the world. You know, what I'm saying? I mean, we don't know. I doubt if half of that shit happened to Tank. He's just dealing with those gutter snipes, and they will put a case on you. And that's what's been going on. Now, I don't want to get into the politics of that, but if you're a name and you could get a bag out of a athlete, you know what I'm saying? All you have to do is say domestic violence, and this guy drugged me by my hair about the house. You know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden you public enemy number one, right? So I think as an athlete you got to protect yourself, especially if you messing with chicks off Instagram. You messing with these chicks that's just there for a bag. You know what I'm saying? You seen what happened to Shannon Sharp. You know what I'm saying? You seen what happened to a lot of the celebrities. Today's is very dangerous. You know what I'm saying? To be flying these chicks out because they looking for a way to secure the bag. You know what I'm saying? They don't give a damn if they disingenuous. You know what I'm saying? That don't mean shit to them. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these people are not in church today. They're not instilling values. You know what I'm saying? Of the old days. These chicks are ruthless. So they got to be careful who they bring into their house. I don't think Devin, kicked his baby mama in the stomach. You know what I'm saying? Do he look like? I've never heard of nothing like that from Devin Haney. You know what I'm saying? Devin Haney looks like a simp to me. He looked like a simp. He looked like he would drink some girl dirty bath water. You know what I'm saying? It's like it ain't no goddamn way he kicked that girl in the damn stomach. If anything, she probably whipped his ass. You know what I'm saying? He probably thanked her for it. You know what I'm saying? That is crazy. You know what I'm saying? This kid, but if he did, oh my God. He said, you seen Crawford got what? I saw the parade. This nigga just came off a parade. Now, did somebody say something to his mama or something? I mean, he was just, thank you, mama. Thank you, grandma. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, that was touching. You know what I'm saying? His mom was like, yeah, nigga. He said, you better still win because I ain't paying out no $10. You know what I'm saying? He said, mama, you gonna give me a hug now, mama? Can I get a hug now? No, nigga. No, we ain't doing that. We ain't doing that, nigga. Nah. Yeah, you going with that soft shit. You know what I'm saying? That's a gay shit, nigga. Get on up there. Let them people congratulate you and get your ass home. Pop out ass home. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Crawford, man, he had a parade the other day. That shit was awesome. It was awesome to see all the little dirty ass country people out there. You know what I'm saying? I was like, damn, this nigga, they love this dude. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, good for Crawford. It was kind of emotional. You know what I'm saying? To see Crawford up there, you could tell that he was really touched. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't see the arrest 2 cents. I didn't see the arrest. I just thought that was a great day for him. You know what I'm saying? And you had all the little hood people. You had his cousins up there, dapping up everybody. It was a good day for Crawford. You know what I'm saying? Ain't hating on Crawford or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? He was in his element. Um, had a lot of people giving him a lot of praise, and they had this big video monitor where everybody that he was kind of close to kind of gave him the congratulations. I thought that was cool as hell. Um, had different promoters come up there. Oh, when I first saw Crawford, I knew he was a shit. You're a goddamn lie. You know what I'm saying? That nigga lost in the Olympics. He was like, man, this nigga. He was like, oh my God, this nigga here losing and shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like revisionist history, or what they say. I forgot how they say that shit. That 2020 is what they say is hindsight or whatever. These niggas are Monday morning quarterbacks coming back. Oh, I knew Crawford was going to be the shit. No, nigga, y'all didn't know that. He developed himself, and say he forged himself into what he is today. You know, so people trying to jump on the bandwagon now. The man is 38 years old. He's on his way out of boxing. I said, don't try to attach your name to him now. Now I think one guy can say that Stevenson. You know what I'm saying? Stevenson has so much adoration for Crawford. That is cool. You know what I'm saying? And he gives Crawford his flowers, um, from the time he used to beat up Stevenson when they first met. You know what I'm saying? They just like they got a respect with each other, you know what I'm saying? And he really looks at Crawford as a mentor, right? And I was like, man, they really close. That's cool to see two brothers, you know what I'm saying, support each other like that. You know what I'm saying? Now, I know that Stevenson is from the city of God, which is, if you saw that movie, it's like, God damn. You know what I'm saying? This nigga was going to win regardless. You know what I'm saying? This motherfucker eat dirt, you know what I'm saying, for lunch. You know what I'm saying? But, Stevenson comes from a tough background too. That shit worse than Omaha. You know what I'm saying? So I know Stevenson was going to be held. You know what I mean? So he's just getting better and better and better. But this fight with Tio is going to tell what kind of fighter he's going to be. Because I think Tio is his toughest challenge. You know what I'm saying? We saw what he did with Edwin DeSantos, right? And it didn't look so good. But I have a lot of faith that like great fighters like Crawford and Canelo. I think that he's going to be able to pull that shit out. You know what I'm saying? I think he's going to be able to figure them out. You know what I'm saying? And Tio, and he understands, if Shakur Stevenson understands that if you stop fucking with Tio confidence level, make him miss, make him pay. You know what I'm saying? Have him looking stupid out there. Tio is going to crumble. His mental is going to crumble. He's going to start coming at Shakur Stevenson, you know what I'm saying, in an aggressive manner, in reckless ways, and trying to knock him out. And, Stevenson is hard to hit. You know what I'm saying? So I think Shakur got a path, you know what I'm saying, to beating Tio just because he got a fragile mentality. Now, I don't know if Tio get out there and catch him with something. Woo, it's gonna be an ugly, ugly fight. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna be an ugly ass fight. You know what I'm saying? He said, I don't know why yet. He said, what's up, everybody? Let's see. What's his eye breeze? He says, can't be black. He says something wrong with it, shaking my head, sad. And let me see. So what did Crawford get arrested for? Cause I was driving, man. You know what I'm saying? Cause last night I was looking at the parade. You know what I'm saying? I was looking at people giving him the congratulations that he deserved, and it was a big day. I think he got the key to Omaha. You know what I'm saying? Which is like getting the key to a damn closet, and he got the key from the mayor and everything. And I saw him, trying to make jokes up there, about that. And it was just a great day for him, man. I was like really happy for him. And he was like, things don't happen like this for me. This not normal. You know what I'm saying? I think I need to go to the gym. I think I need to go to the gym. I'm used to doing push-ups. I'm used to doing push-ups and training for my next fight. I'm trying, nigga, you only fight once a year. You know what I'm saying? What the hell you be doing? Fishing? You know what I'm saying? I think I need to go fishing. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how to accept this. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, just fall back. You got it. You'll be all right. You know what I'm saying? But getting arrested, maybe one of his cousins, you know what I'm saying, got pushed around. Crawford still kind of got that hood mentality where he haven't really separated his professional, kind of like Keyshawn, you know what I'm saying, when he went and fought with his cousin or brother, whoever that was that lost, and they went to beat the guy up that beat him. You know what I'm saying? Crawford, and then when you home, you got a lot of family around, and if they get into it, you know what I'm saying, you got the goddamn undisputed champion. Imagine being a little cousin, you know what I'm saying, and you get into it at the parade, and you know what I'm saying, they don't know that Crawford, the undisputed, 3-time undisputed champion, got your back. You know what I'm saying? And somebody hit your ass in the eye, and here come Crawford. Oh my God. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know why he got arrested. Um, I don't know why he got arrested, but if he got into some kind of scuffle because of his family, you know, it's like taking 16 steps forward and just taking 15 steps back because he don't need that kind of publicity right now. And right now, the boxing world is looking for any kind of way to destroy Crawford. Anytime a black man or a black champion get up there, like Deontay Wilder, they look at the campaign, the smear campaign they put against him. You know what I'm saying? Anytime, especially those dark skinned niggas like Crawford, they want to get your ass up out of there. They don't want Crawford representing boxing like that. And the man is magnificent. He is. You heard it on Pool Counter Boxing. It's some bullshit. And I know people say I would have never thought I would have heard that shit. You know what I'm saying? But the man is magnificent. You know, he earned his stripes. You know, he skipped a lot of shit. He skipped a lot of shit. He did. You know, but he had the talent to pull it off. You know what I'm saying? Once he targets you, you got to get your shit together. You know, once he targets you and he takes time off to dissect you, his team, you know what I'm saying? You got to be ready. It's a game of chess. You know what I'm saying? So you got to make the right moves, you know what I'm saying, to either stalemate this nigga or to make sure you cover up your flaws because they're going to defeat you and they're gonna go by the rule. They're gonna look at the rule books and they're gonna take it by the numbers to take you out, to nullify what you do. You know what I'm saying? So they could take advantage, you know what I'm saying, of your weakness. And that's something I learned about Crawford and his team. It's very strong. And I look at Bomac and this fat, you don't think he's like that, you know, so as far as the strategy, as far as what he brings to boxing, you never hear him, like really giving him good instruction, but it's already ingrained in him because of the training camp. They have that kind of bond because they've been together so long. So what we can't see from the outside, they already got it on the inside, is what I'm saying. Is what I'm saying. So yeah, man. So what, hey, 2 cents, what do you know why he got arrested? Let me see if I can look that up. You know what I'm saying, real quick. Let me see what the hell is going on. It's like I'm always a step behind. Let's see. And it was a long parade too. Let me see. It was a long parade. So let me see. Crawford gets arrested. Let me just look this up real quick because that's news to me. Gets arrested. Let's see. Said Crawford held at gunpoint by a cop. Let's see. Man alleged. Let's see. Let me see. I'm gonna click on that. That's crazy. He got held. He got held by gunpoint with the tense exchange caught on video, and it's leading to an internal investigation. So they fucking with this man in his own city. You know what I'm saying? This man is being celebrated, by the people of Omaha, and they can't stand that shit. They got to damn. They got to fuck that up. Let me see. Let me see. I'm gonna try and see if I can find the damn story on the shit. That was some Instagram bullshit. Let's see. Okay, so this is why Terrence Crawford was arrested. Okay. And they're talking about 90 days in jail. It says 90 days sentence got overturned. It said the fight game, Crawford once, okay. Back in Omaha. It says dragged into the courtroom. He was being led. What? Omaha native not being celebrated for his dominance in the ring. Instead, he was being led away in handcuffs. His reputation dragged into the courtroom over a heated dispute that spiraled into a 90-day jail sentence. So what really happened? Okay, so hold on. So Crawford was sentenced to 90 days in jail and 2 years of probation after being found guilty of disorderly conduct and property damage. He says the case stems from an April altercation. So this is something that happened earlier. Extreme Custom Fleet Auto Spa in Omaha Body Shop where Crawford, oh, I remember that shit. That happened a while back. He said Omaha Body Shop where Crawford was taking his 1984 Chevrolet Monte Carlo for a new paint job. He says the shop reportedly billed him $2,500 for the work. Crawford paid half up front, but then he returned dissatisfied with the job and the delay. Tensions rose. Shop owner Michael Nelson allegedly refused to release the car until the remaining $1,350 was paid. That's when things turned physical. According to Nelson, Crawford and the others lowered the vehicle from the hydraulic lift, tied a rope to it, and hauled it away. So he took his shit. You know what I'm saying? He says, the problem, the lift was left in on position. So he went in there, strong armed shit, took his car, but they left the hydraulic shit on. The lift, the hydraulic lift, you know how they be lifting your shit, but he left it on, overheated, and burnt out the pump, which caused damages estimated up to more than $3,000. Says the surveillance footage captured the incident and the jury found Crawford guilty. The fuck? He says the judge, uh, Marcina Hendricks, was firm, stating that the boxer had behaved as if he was above the law, and you're not. So Crawford lawyers, Matthews, um, blasted the sentence as excessive, and this is his first and only adult conviction as of significance, and the crime, disorderly conduct, and property damage is an abnormally high sentence, and it's mostly significant. It's the most significant sentence I've seen from that judge for those charges. He said. So under the Nebraska guidelines, the 90 days would have meant 50 days actually served. Crawford posted a $10,000 bond and immediately appealed. You know what I'm saying? So see, in August. So that's what it is. Terrence Crawford still faced 2 years probation, but avoided serving time behind bars. The reverse allowed him to keep his focus on boxing, but that wasn't the only run-ins with the authorities. He says when Crawford was questioned by the police, the body shop saga wasn't the only time Crawford name surfaced. So they're going back to 2007. Oh yeah. So they somebody they are really coming after him. They don't want him sitting on the throne unscathed. And I see this. I'm saying, this is a goddamn shame. Now he did do that with the auto body shop. You know what I'm saying? But I do see this as you know, they're not affording him the celebrity. You know how celebrities get away with shit, and he's an Omaha because it ain't nobody in Omaha. You know what I'm saying? They don't have no celebrities. They need to kiss his ass because nobody wants to go to Omaha. Not once in my life did I say I want to go to Omaha, Nebraska. And I never heard a nigga say that. I didn't even know they had black people in Omaha, Nebraska. Right? So never in my life have I ever heard say, man, I can't wait to go to Omaha. Because when I think about it, you could think of every major city and think of something in that city. Can you think of one thing in Omaha that you want to see? No. Answer is no. So they got a big celebrity they can do business, that could draw business to Omaha. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about on the sports side, you know. But they're not taking advantage because they don't want Crawford to be the face of that, right? So they're going to convict him just like they do anybody else. And that's going to send a bigger message because of who he is, right? Oh, we don't give a damn who you are or what. So we're going to arrest that. So when they get in trouble, I'm saying you just a high profile, let people know you don't lock your ass up. You know what I'm saying? We don't care what your status is. So they can kind of spit in your face a little bit and kind of get a little, smug with locking up our black athletes. Now, if it was if it was them athletes, they get off. You know what I'm saying? Say, just learn your lesson next time. They got to put these guys out. That's a threat. You know what I'm saying? So the Crawford is going, if you go to jail and shit, no. That's Canelo. Fucking bastard. You know what I'm saying? Canelo probably caught that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? This motherfucker took my belt. What's up? You know what I'm saying? I can see that happening. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying? Is unable to. I'm having all kind of internet problems out there. That's why I don't like to do live streams when I'm out riding, man. When I'm out working, because this damn internet out here be terrible. hmm The internet be terrible out here. I don't know if y'all can hear me or not because this damn thing be in and out. You know, it's hard to run your damn channel on the road. Yeah. So it's like, anytime they do anytime that they do a story on you, they're gonna dredge up all the old stuff. Y'all know that. What I'm saying? I don't give a fuck if it's 10 years ago. Y'all saw how they did Floyd Mayweather. Y'all saw how they did Floyd Mayweather. Any domestic dispute that he had, what I'm saying, they're gonna pull all that shit up. What I'm saying? So no matter how old it is, say if you get in any trouble, they're gonna drag your name. They're gonna try to make it look like you're public enemy number one. So, sometimes Floyd would be on there talking about his next fight with Madonna, and they'd be like, well, what about when you beat up them hoes? What about that? What about when you beat up them hoes? You know what I'm saying? What's going on? Hey, that ain't got a damn thing to do. My fight's coming up. He said, oh, well, you're a damn woman beater. What's up with that? You know what I'm saying? It's, damn, I said so cold on Floyd. That shit was ugly, man. But Floyd handled it like a champ. You know what I'm saying? He defended himself, all he could do, right? And then I don't know why Floyd didn't understand. If you got a woman, especially interviewing you, that's a trap. And he just caught on. Omaha Steaks. You know what I'm saying? Not Omaha Steaks, my brother. I can't. Them bitches must be made of wheat. They must be made of wheat. And it's like, y'all gonna forgive my head just a little off. He says Bud picked up the car off the rack by himself. No, I'm pretty sure he had about 1,500 cousins with him. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure because that Omaha is his neck of the woods. So you know what I'm saying? That's where he lived. You're and that's, you know what I'm saying? So, but him being so high profile, that was pretty stupid. And then he's a rich man, so just pay the money, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like you got too much to lose. You got way more to lose than that auto shop owner. So I don't know. This internet is going in and out. Is kind of going, but you know, yeah, I know. I'm out here in the country. You know how it is with tankers. You know what I'm saying? We be out here in the middle of nowhere. We be out here in the middle of nowhere, and I'm out here in the country. So he says, Bud got his Negro wake up call, and that's all it is. See, he love white people so much. And not that I got anything against white people, but he loved them so much, saying he put such high value on, saying their attention and saying wanting to be in their presence and stuff, he wrestling, white people in the gym, saying he has a good relationship with white people. So, I mean, I don't know if the gym owner white or whatever, but probably knowing Bud, he probably did take his car to a white person gym or white person car shop. And like you say, you can't trust everybody. People are people. Saying you can't look at folks like that. And I think Omaha, if you think about it, it's not one of the black cities that you would think of, and maybe it is because I don't know a lot about Omaha, but I did drive through there, And I didn't see a lot of niggas up there. I ain't see a lot of niggas up there. I just didn't. So, you know, maybe the culture up there is more country than anything. That from what I see, that's kind of like what the vibe is up there. It's more of a country city. And you can see it in the way Bud Crawford carry himself. He's very humble. You know what I'm saying? He got some very good, things about himself. You know what I'm saying? But he just kind of, like them country people, he's very clan centered. He's very about his own. And I don't even think it's about white people. I think it's just country people got a lot of loyalty issues, when it comes to they just stick with what they know. And I think that's where Bud come from. He kind of like, what I'm saying? He's kind of leery about new things, you know what I'm saying? Inviting new people, new things into his life. And I think you should really kind of move like that, especially when you're rich, especially when you know people out there who don't want you to succeed. You know what I'm saying? Um, I was one of them, but you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to try to do anything to keep him from getting anything that he earned, right? You know what I'm saying? So, there you go. You know what I'm saying? Bud Crawford, he learning a life lesson at 38. You know what I'm saying? Don't go in there and steal your car back. Pay the bill first. Look like he should have learned that shit, you know what I'm saying, through grade school. Pay your bills, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? Don't go take your goddamn car. You know what I'm saying? That's the wrong way to do it. But getting back, now that was good news though. You know what I'm saying? But getting back to the Devin Haney thing, you know what I'm saying? I think, we got a lot of time. It's a lot of time between, this and November 22nd. We got a lot of fights that's coming up that's gonna be, on the table. Oh yeah, I forgot. Talking about that undercard, man. That undercard with Abdullah Mason, you know what I'm saying? You got Bam on that motherfucker, man. That's the best card I've seen this year. You know what I'm saying? If you think about it, that's the best card. I mean, it's because I want to see all those fights, especially Abdullah Mason getting on the undercard. Oh my God, bro, he's starting to climb. Even though Sam Noakes is what how you say that, he ain't that dude, right? He ain't, but you can see Mason is climbing the chart. He's starting to get on the undercards that people want to see. Um, so if he goes in, he goes in there and he does well with that, we're going to see Abdullah Mason, more Abdullah Mason. And I think he's going to go in there and do what he do. You know what I'm saying? And Bam, of course, Jesse Rodriguez, you know what I'm saying, versus Fernando Martinez, they're going for 3 belts. So that's going to be a significant fight in boxing because it's going to be moving it forward or backwards or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Because, Bam is an exciting fighter too. You know what I'm saying? Even though a lot of people don't care about the flyweight, the super flyweight titles and stuff, I watch that shit. I watch it. And I think Bam is one of the more exciting fighters, you know what I'm saying? Even though he'd be moving up to 118, 112, I mean 115 to 112, he'll go back and forth. But he was leaving room for, I think what his brother or something like that. I think his brother, he was trying to leave, you know what I'm saying, some room for his brother. And it's a lot of shit like that going on down there. Just like kind of like Shakur Stevenson when he's talking about he's going to leave the WBC for Keyshawn Davis. Well, hell, Keyshawn Davis has been named the number 1 contender for the WBO. You know what I'm saying? Moving up, he's the number 1 contender. You know what I'm saying, for the WBO. So that puts him right in line to fight Teofimo Lopez, right? So if Teofimo Lopez try to flake out on this Shakur fight, well, goddamn, it's been mandated that he is, he'll be jumping out of that tub with Shakur Stevenson just to jump into the fire with Shakur Stevenson light. You know what I'm saying? Because Keyshawn, it's just like fighting Shakur Stevenson, right? So, you're just going from one problem to the next. You know what I'm saying? So eventually you're going to get cornered, like Tank is cornered right now. You're going to have to fight somebody or you're going to have to get out the game, T.O. You know what I'm saying? People are tired of you flaking around like you're a fucking celebrity. You know what I'm saying? We want to see you fight somebody. I mean, yeah, you want to be a celebrity. That's what you want to do. You want to put your shades on. You and your daddy talking shit. You flirting with white supremacy. You know what I'm saying? You running around with racist YouTubers. You know what I'm saying? Why does he think that's cool? I mean, I don't understand. It's like I just don't understand why does he always tear his image down? And I'm talking about Teofimo Lopez. Why you got to call the Turk Al Sheikh a dictator? Why you got to call him a dick? This dude is about to pay you millions of dollars. He's about to set you up with some of the best deals and shake hands with the best deals in the world. He's about to get you the fights. I mean, if you would have got Teofimo Lopez that boots fight, that would have put Teofimo Lopez on a whole nother level. I'm talking about it would separate him, what I'm saying, from the pack. And especially if he was to accept that fight, then you could say, damn, man, Tio, he ain't what I thought he was, man. He got a lot of heart. Because I think you have to have a lot of heart to face the phenom from Philly. You know what I'm saying? The phenom from Philly that dude ain't playing. He ain't playing no games. You know what I'm saying? You saw him against Villa. You saw what he can do in that ring, right? You know what I'm saying? Teofimo Lopez, he's been fighting the lower guys. Josh Taylor ain't really somebody you would think, that's a good solid win, but it ain't like fighting somebody with athletic ability like you, right? So I think a lot of these athletic fighters, they have a problem, when they meet another athletic fighter. And even though Devin Haney is an athletic fighter, he's an athletic fighter, but he don't have the same kind of power. He don't have all the things to be able to survive against a Jerron Bucenis. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. I hope you guys can hear you. Put a one in the chat if you can hear me. Let me see. I'm gonna try to put a one and put a one in the chat if you can hear me. Yeah. So I don't think he got it, man, like that. You know what I'm saying? So Teofimo Lopez will be proven. I think a lot of people proven to a lot of folks. You know what I'm saying? They'll be showing him that he got the heart, that he's serious about boxing, that he's just not trying to parade around here and be a star, right? You know what I'm saying? I've seen the videos. I've seen him doing, pull-ups. I've seen him doing pull-ups and all that shit and holding himself sideways and acting crazy. And I'm not saying that you can't be a little goofy, what I'm saying, because I'm pretty sure it get boring in the gym. I'm pretty sure, that he needs something to entertain himself. I've seen him dancing and stuff, and he's a young man, so there's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, don't be serious about, getting these fights. Be serious about, stop floating around with you in the limelight. And you got a lot of fans that look up to you, I don't think these fighters really give a damn about their image and stuff like that. Just stemming off from what we saw with Tank and how he got frustrated with the criticism. And, I guess he was just like, fuck it, what I'm saying? And a lot of these fighters, they feel the same way. But when you out here acting like an ass, when you get into trouble, they don't understand that they're public figures. And Tank don't want to be a public figure no more. And I think that's more what it is. And I think they get tired of, living in a microcosm, right? When people, look at every little thing that you do and you get caught, because people are watching you 247. Everybody got phones everywhere you go. Everywhere you go, there's phones and people are looking at you, and it just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? People get tired of this shit, But Tio, he's on another level. He's going to have to learn how to tone that shit down. So he's going to have to learn how to act professional. If he can't act professional, stay in the house, stay in the gym, because people are going to report that shit. If you out here wilding, you on podcasts saying racist things, or, what I'm saying, or you just offending people, that's going to affect your bottom line, right? And I think the Turk did fire him temporarily. And then, they came back and apologized. Teofimo Lopez apologized. And, what I'm saying, they put the shit behind him. They crushed it. They crushed it. What's going on? He says, yeah. So they crushed it. They put the shit behind him. And he's lucky. And Teofimo Lopez is lucky, what I'm saying, that the Turk put that shit behind him. Because if he had to go back to top rank, I can't see, I know it's business, but I don't see how top rank can deal with a disloyal fighter like Tio. Tio is always trying to leverage, what I'm saying, something against top rank. They see he's untrustworthy, right? That nigga was stabbed top rank in the back tomorrow, and Top Rank will stab him in the back. So it's a big plantation, you know. Plantation. Uh, so I'm saying he's trying to operate with the big boys, but I don't, I don't think I think he's overmatched. You know what I'm saying? So if he's going to stay a free agent, I think that's the best thing for him. See what kind of dude he is. So they don't give, they don't. I don't think Top Rank really give two shits about T.O. They probably just want to grab his ass so they can, what I'm saying, hand him to the wolves and shit. They could fight the wolves. Send to Supreme Matias. Since the Matias, he might be Burrito. He might be free. Feed him the Gary Russell, like Pebble, Tio. Pebble is such a smooth. That's somebody who I see Top treating them somebody like that. Where we at? So yeah, so Devin Haney, is coming, coming. And I just really think that I think Sugar Shane Mosley is going to be good for him. Yeah. I think Sugar Shane is somebody who's had high profile fights. He fought Oscar De La Hoya two times. You know what I'm saying? And won. Two times. You know how hard it was to get a decision against Oscar De La Hoya back then? And Sugar Shane Mosley is one fighter that got two damn decisions against him, right? So, Shane got some experience, what I'm saying? If he hang in there with Shane can give him some mental stamina. I think Shane, he suffered defeats, what I'm saying? He suffered a lot of defeats, and I think Shane is the perfect coach for him, really. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how much he can do for him in battle, but I find it interesting because he is working on different techniques. He's working on different angles. I think that's going to help him out. I think that's going to help him out. Now, like I said, let's see. Yeah, my internet going in and out, man. This shit is wild. Let's see. Can you guys hear me? Let me see. This the internet going in and out, man. I hate this shit. See, that's why it was hard for me to man, my damn internet going in and out. Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, I'm on there. Yeah, my internet's going in and out. So, you know what I'm saying? This is yeah, I be breaking up 'cause I'm out here in this damn country. But yeah, man, that's what it is. You know, with Keyshawn being the number one contender, man, that's gonna change a lot of things at 140. Um, I think Keyshawn, you know what I'm saying, has a lot of potential if he can stay out of trouble, right? If Keyshawn, if he's number one for WBO, shit, I think he can make a lot of ways. He could definitely beat Hitchison. He could beat Hitchens, right? He could beat him. You know, I could see Keyshawn beating him, but what's going to be like really exciting to watch is him fighting Sabri Matias or, you know what I'm saying, fighting Pablo or Russell, you know what I'm saying, fighting them guys. Now that's going to be something interesting to see, you know, to see if you know, and then to see how he moved, you know, because he already called himself the damn businessman, and he already has a rival, you know what I'm saying, for the Olympics. You know, he got and Andy what's his name? Andy, not Andy. I was about to say Andy Ruiz, but Cruz, Andy Cruz, right? The dude with the guys braids, you know what I'm saying? The dude with the pretty braids and shit. You know what I'm saying? Now that's gonna be, you know, if he up there, damn fight. You know, he run away from the idea of fighting Andy Cruz, right? So already it's gonna push you in the mind of some bullshit that he's gonna try to pull. You know, I can't see him fighting Suprema Matias or, you know, saying fighting Pablo or, you know, the other champions of Russell or Gary Russell. Look, you know, it seems like he's coming up with that same mentality. See, he just look like he's only looking for the big money fights too. So that's the trend that's going on right now, and it's making boxing boring, and it making want to not really want to watch the shit. You know what I'm saying? So what's the point of moving up if you don't want to prove yourself? You want to skip cross people like Crawford did. You know what I'm saying? All the 154 pounders. You know what I'm saying? Do you want to fight any of the 168 pounders? It really don't make sense. You know, since you're already undisputed. You know what I'm saying? You fought one guy to get undisputed, so you really don't have to fight what's his name, Hazra Mashiro or whatever his name is. Yeah, you ain't got to fight them dudes. You know what I'm saying? Because you can go back down to 154. You can keep skipping around and cherry picking who you want to fight, right? So I can see Keyshawn following them same footsteps. Now, for Shakur, it's a little bit different because To is a tough fight, and I do think that Shakur has been calling out Tank. I think he has been calling out the names that he really been trying to get to fight. So I look at Shakur differently than I look at a Keyshawn Davis, right? And maybe Keyshawn just need a few more good fights before he settle in, but I doubt it. You call yourself the businessman, then that tells me that you only in this shit for the money, right? You know what I'm saying? You only in this for the money. It's a lot of fights down at 135 that you could fight. At least fight one or two good guys at one. Well, he said he can't. He probably can't make it. He failed the weight and everything, right? So if you're gonna go out on a bad note from a division, I think you should come into a new division with a big name. You know, and I'm not talking about because you know Tio is already fighting Shakur Stevenson. He's already fighting Shakur Stevenson. So you fight you a name, another name there down at 140. Fight. I think Gary Russell is fighting some Asian dude. You know what I'm saying? That fight shouldn't even happen. I want to see Gary Russell fight Keyshawn Davis. How about that? How about that? That'll prove your worth that you belong. He needs an introduction. Welcome to 140, right? You know what I'm saying? Welcome to light welterweight, right? He need that. You know what I'm saying? So because he is unvalidated, he's uncertified. He runs his mouth a lot. You know, he buck his eyes. So let's put him in the ring with somebody, one of the champions. You know, hell, I mean, put him in there with he'll beat Pitbull Cruz. You know what I'm saying? Put him in there with Richardson Hitchens. You know, that'll be a damn good fight just to see what he looked like. You know, stop trying to skip the champions, you're not better than the champions. You haven't done shit yet. Hell, you barely fought, 3 12-round fights. So what gives you the right to be able to skip everybody just because you're the friend of Shakur Stevenson? You should be able to skip everybody just because you come from top rank. No, bro, you haven't done shit. You know what I'm saying? So now you got to prove yourself. Go and fight one of the champions. I don't know what's wrong with these fighters' mentality. They just don't want to go by the hierarchy of boxing. They just don't want to do it. They just don't want to do it. I'm Keyshawn Davis, saying? Fuck all the champions. I just want to go to fight who I want to fight. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got a pot to piss in or a winner to throw it out of. You just getting here, bro. You just got done fighting 3 12-round fights, in your career. And they wasn't against nobody. And it wasn't against the top names. You didn't fight one elite. So what gives you the cachet to skip over just because you work with top rank? I don't think so, bro. I think these fighters need a reality check. You're not gonna fight on pay-per-view. You know what I'm saying? I don't see Keyshawn name resonating like that. You know what I'm saying, with people. I don't see it. Until he get a signature fight in, a couple of signature fights in, people ain't gonna rock with Keyshawn like that because they already see the bullshit. You know what I'm saying, all over him. They already see that. They already see he's gonna be difficult to negotiate with. They already see it in him. So he says, Poole, can I maybe Keyshawn versus Regis? Oh man, he would destroy Regis. Dark Kent, he would destroy Regis. Regis is shot. Regis is done. He's done, man. I love Regis. And I love Regis' heart, but as far as the sport of boxing, he's done, bro. He's done. He's cooked. And I forgot who Regis they was trying to put Regis against. Um, I forgot who just put him up against, but he's cooked in that fight too. He just ain't got it no more, man. But you know what I'm saying, they're gonna use his name, they're gonna use his clout, his resume, you know what I'm saying, to they're gonna feed him to other fighters that's on the way up. And I could see them feeding him to Keyshawn, you know what I'm saying? Because Regis come up with Jamel Charlo, you know what I'm saying, and Errol Spence Jr. So, he was kind of like cool with them and stuff. He came up through their time. So his time has ended, man. So now he's just a resume filler right now. He's a resume filler. And that's what they're gonna do. That's what they're gonna do. But I wonder if Keyshawn gonna be serious with this thing. I don't know why it's so hard for these guys just to fight a couple of solid elite fights. It's like they don't want to take the risk at all. And you see it all over them, and that's what it is. So don't come faking the funk with anybody with all the smiling and shit. You can't charm your way into people, um, 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 letting you get a pass. That's not going to happen. You can't cheese your way across not fighting elite fighters. That shit, it ain't going to happen, bro. You know what I'm saying? You won't have to fight somebody up at 154. They all fighting each other. Win or lose. What is it about? What's different about 154 than it is all the other divisions? They're fighting each other, and they don't give a damn. They're gonna do. Lubin is fighting. Even Keith Thurman has come out of retirement. You know what I'm saying? His temporary retirement. He's coming out. Everybody's coming out the woodwork. Tim Tszyu just got his ass whipped. Everybody's getting beat the hell up at 154. What's going on with the guys down at the lighter weights? They can't even hit that hard. You know what I'm saying? So they should, don't even worry about getting in there and doing what they got to do. It's like, damn, everybody's afraid to take a loss, and they keep blaming the shit on Floyd Mayweather. Well, Floyd Mayweather's been out for a long time. You can't blame that shit on Floyd. That's your bitch ass. Don't want to get in the ring and prove that you belong, especially when you move into you didn't do shit at 135. Keyshawn, I'm talking about Keyshawn Davis. You ain't do shit at 135. So, a lot of these guys, they want to go on the podcast, they want to walk around like they celebrities, but they don't understand that these boxing they trying to see what you're gonna do. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to see if you about that smoke. And this little pop-eyed dude, he always acting like he about that smoke when he outside the ring, and he see Frank Martin and he sees some of these other his other peers, but sign the contract and get in there. Sign the contract, get in there. When Frank Martin wanted to fight him, what did he say? You know, what he acted like he wanted that about that act. Frank Martin was about that act, you know. So, it is what it is. He says Keyshawn versus Reed, you said that. So, moving on, you know what I'm saying? They the Keith Thurman fight, you know what I'm saying, that's with from Dora. And of course, it ain't too much to say. We gotta see what Keith looked like. Got to see what he looked like in that fight. You know what I'm saying? I don't, it's a lot of Keith Thurman lovers, you know what I'm saying, starting to come out the woodwork. You know what I'm saying? They was in the Hall of Shame because, Keith, I told them that Keith was going to come out and fight and then he's going to dip out for 3 years. And nobody believed me. Nobody believed me. You know what I'm saying? I was like, come on, bro. He does it. He does it all the time. He come out and make him a few meals and get the hell on. But Keith Thurman said that, he loved boxing, but he loved his life more. So he loved being outside the ring just as much as he loved being inside the ring. So he said he don't like really push for, on the hustle of boxing that much because he enjoy, his own personal time. He loved his life. And as you can see, when you have no balance, when you don't have any balance, you end up like Shakur, like not Shakur, Tank Davis. You end up like Tank Davis. You get burned out, you know, or you just do like Keith Thurman. You just disappear for a while, you know. So the fights that with this Teal Fimo Shakur fight is supposed to be on Prime. They're talking about putting this shit on Prime. You know what I'm saying? Because the PPC, backed by the Turk, you know what I'm saying? They got all kind of partnerships with DraftKings, you know what I'm saying? And I'm learning all this back shit with DraftKings. That's the reason why we can see the shit on YouTube, the preliminaries. They're in charge of the preliminaries that we be seeing on YouTube. It's fun. It's like when you get time to do a little research, you know what I'm saying? You find out. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, they're the reason why they do the and then of course they do the bets. They control, they do the bets influencing out there so the gamblers can make their bets and stuff like that. So, DraftKings, you know what I'm saying, is going to be in charge of with of this Keith Thurman fight, you know what I'm saying, with putting on the productions and doing the tail of the tape type shit and doing the in charge of showing the preliminaries. So I thought that was interesting. I said, wow, okay. I just found out something new. You know what I'm saying? So that's why you can see it on YouTube. And you know what I'm saying? And then when the PBC side takes over when they do the main card. So, as you learn the business of it, you know what I'm saying, you say, okay, this is how this connect. But one thing I was like really taken back on was, how the PBC works with the Turk and how it all comes together and how do they go get the fighters, right? And how the Turk actually, offer personal deals, you know what I'm saying, with certain fighters, and they give them a list, you know what I'm saying, to see if they can make that fight. And they ask them would they be interested to fight, certain fights. So I'm just catching up, y'all, you know what I'm saying? So y'all got to forgive me. I'm catching up, finding out what's going on with this shit. And as I learn it, I will dish it out there. You know what I'm saying? Full kind of boxing, you know what I'm saying? I'm a researcher too, you know what I'm saying? I work a real job. That's my problem. I don't get to just sit down all day and shit at the computer trying to find out shit. You know what I'm saying? So that's my problem. But, when I do get to catch up, I find out, you know what I'm saying, what's going on. So yeah, that's the big news, you know what I'm saying? So we got Sugar Shane Mosley, we covered that. You know what I'm saying, in the camp of Devin Haney. You know what I'm saying? And that's a big, big thing right there. But we'll see how it all shakes out. And let me see, November 22nd in the Raja Theater, in the Raja Arena is where it's going to take place. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why it took Brian Norman so long to get that goddamn vital test done, but you know what I'm saying? Hopefully he ain't been doing shit because we might see another Falumaloon for Devin Haney. Might see another Falumaloon. I hate to put that out there, but it is what it is. Let's see. So I'm gonna drop the link. So, yeah, I got that real job, 2 cents. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard for me to keep up with the research side. You know what I'm saying? And then, a lot of these boxing channels, what I'm saying, I don't know how the hell, I don't know if they're on disability, motherfuckers on food stamps or something. And so, how the hell they do it. You know what I'm saying? Shit. When it comes to pool count, now I could cut shit on while I'm driving, but shit, I don't want my people to see that shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I be coming to y'all unemployed. I really be doing research then until the goddamn internet get cut off. You know what I'm saying? Then y'all have to put the goddamn. Then I have to put my cash app up that motherfucker. I'll be like, yay! I be on this bitch serious and shit, giving y'all dropping serious knowledge and shit. I be on this bitch like blue blood. It's your boy, full count of boxing. You know what I'm saying? Shit. Terrence Crawford, 42 wins, 32. You know what I'm saying? 32 knockouts. That motherfucker got a black shirt on. His mama name is. You be like, God damn, blue blood. You got to say that shit every motherfucking time. You know what I'm saying? But you got time to go ahead and look that shit up and memorize it. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I ain't got no hate on these dudes. You know what I'm saying? I love their content. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying for real people that's out here getting it, you know what I'm saying? You be tired, you know what I'm saying, after you get done, you know what I'm saying? Now I'm not complaining, you know what I'm saying? But 'cause I love this shit, this boxing shit. And but when I get time to research, you know what I'm saying, I get it in, you know what I'm saying? Y'all remember when I was out there, you know what I'm saying, working for Landstar shit. You know what I'm saying? I had all kind of time to research the shit, you know what I'm saying? They were like, oh, you're so smart. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey man, shit, I'm eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, baby. You know what I'm saying? We getting to where we live, baby. It's what it is. Shit, I get up here and but on the real, we got a lot of good fights coming up, man. And I'm kind of cool with that. I just, finding out the business of it, you know what I'm saying, and what's happening and how they get put together. And who's working with who. That's the interesting part that's happening in boxing right now. And you just kind of track down like the whole Teofimo Lopez shit. You know what I'm saying? I had to go back and study that shit about the extended contracts and him telling Top Rank that, I'm a free agent. And when you're really not, you just try to use the formality of fighting Pedraza. I mean, not fighting Pedraza and fighting Sandor Martin. You just use that formality to try to break the contract. You know what I'm saying? And so they be moving fraudulently, you know what I'm saying, through these streets, and you don't really know what they can't do. Because I could see Top Rank putting a damn lawsuit on the Turk or anybody, you know what I'm saying? Because they still over T.O. But just because T.O. said that he ain't a part of Top Rank, you don't know what the hell. I mean, Bob is a Harvard lawyer. You know what I'm saying? Even though he probably don't know where the fuck he at right now, you know what I'm saying? Because that nigga about 90, you know what I'm saying? But even though you don't know where you at in life, you know what I'm saying? They could put a lawsuit on them if they still got legal papers on Tio. You know what I'm saying? Even though he calling himself a free agent, you can't just call yourself a damn free agent. And of course, Tio got new representation now, and that's a sign right there that he know he fucked up. That he's got new representation, he got new managers, and he done cleaned the house. Cause the other managers probably told you better take your ass to Top Rank before they sue your ass. You know what I'm saying? They probably was telling him, man, you ain't got a foot to stand on. So he wanted to fight shit and be obstinate, and he's already turned down a lot of fights that Top Rank have sent him. So, you know what I'm saying? So, they probably told him, man, you need to take the fights, man. So you are Bob Arum's, property, my nigga. So, so he got him some new representation to tell him sweet nothings in his ear. Do what you want to do, my nigga. Man, Bob don't own you. Fuck Bob. You know what I'm saying? Hey man, we the team, man. So they all up into your ear, got him with his chest pumped out, and he thinking he's a free agent. Now, Stevenson, he's the true free agent. You know what I'm saying? So he's running now. He's cooling. Now, now Shakur can fight anybody. You know, and but I pray to God that this fight goes through. You know what I'm saying? Because it just means so much. It's just to see how Shakur Stevenson deal at that weight, and it'll be crazy. It'll be crazy to see if Stevenson have a little bit more power. You know what I'm saying? At 140, that's crazy. If he's able to hurt T.O. in this fight, and that I'm gonna tell you something. If he hurt T.O. in this fight, T.O. gonna crumble. I'm gonna tell you. I hope y'all understand that. I hope you heard it here on Full Kind of Boxing. If he can hurt T.O., y'all know all his shit gonna cave in because he's mentally weak. Tio is mentally weak, and we've seen that after the Sandor Martin fight. I mean, it's almost like you heard the fucking Lonely Man music from the Incredible Hulk at the end. You know, doom 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 doom, and he was like, "Do I still have it? Do I still have?" I was like, "This is pathetic." And they had the mic on too. I was like, "Man, this is." I had to cut that shit off as a man. I was like, "This nigga here, all that bravado and bullshitting you be doing, and you up in here. Oh, do I still have it?" I was like, "Man, this shit is crazy." Oh my god! And then it's on. And then to look that bad against, I think Sandor Martin knocked him down in the fight. I was man. I was like, come on, man. We. It's almost like he fight up to the competition, and I hate that fighters do that. Maybe he couldn't get motivated. Maybe because the switch, because he was preparing for Jose Pedraza. Maybe that was what it was, because he was preparing for him. Um, that he just really couldn't. He wasn't prepared for Sandor Martin, right? And then his daddy felt some kind of way because his son had a bad performance, and they're trying to punish Top Rank. You know what I'm saying? But you're an athletic fighter, so you should be able to make the adjustments, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to be, I forgot what country you're from, um, but you're supposed to be this great athlete. You should be able to adapt to a goddamn Sandor Martin. You know, I mean, if you're going to be a special fighter, and if you're going to be that dude that we can sit on the next level, you're going to have to be able to deal with that. To me, a lot of these guys have inconsistent performances. They got inconsistent performances, and so you can't get behind them. You know what I'm saying? Because they're inconsistent. I don't care. I'm talking about the top guys right now. Not David Benavidez. I'm for, or not Bivol. Them dudes there, they solid 100%. I was tripping out on that damn David Benavidez interview when he was talking shit on Canelo. He said Canelo's scared of me. You had Max Kellerman on there trying to be pussy punk ass with it, talking about well, Canelo, he came up through the ranks and he was trying to be kind on Canelo, saying he a lot of people ducked him, and he said, what do you think that Canelo, and he already knew what the answer was. That's why he asked him the goddamn question. How do you feel about Canelo, saying not giving you the opportunity? Man, David Kelly said he's scared of me. He says, David just came out and says, Canelo is scared of me. He never wanted to fight me. You know what I'm saying? Even now, he wouldn't fight me. So Canelo's never going to fight me. I thought that shit was funny as hell. I said, now they be knowing that this man was ducked for all these years. Why would you ask that man that question? Just because he want the drama to unfold on their shit, right? And David, man, is he's probably my favorite fighter right now because his mentality. You know what I'm saying? Even Boots letting me down. Boots letting me down. Fighting this Usima, his reputation is taking a hit, but I do think that Boots is going to give us what we asking for. I think he's going to give us. He gonna fight them dudes now. Now he knows goddamn well that if he puts on a good performance, and I think he will with this Lucima guy, right? Even though nobody knows who the hell he is, he got rat-a-tat-tat by Aaron McKinney. He got rat-a-tat-tat, and that dude ain't shit, right? So he's gonna go out there and get his ass destroyed by Boots, right? But Boots know he can't do that no more because he has been tagged as a special dude, right? He's the dude that we look at. He passed the eye test. He's the next one. He's the next uh, king of boxing, right? So you got to move like that. Now the standard is put on Boots. Everybody be like, oh, Tank, everybody hate Tank. Oh no, everybody hate Devin. Everybody hate Devin. No, everybody. The standard is put on everybody. I don't understand how they can't see that. Because now everybody's on Boots' ass, right? Because he's moving crazy. So how can you look at your favorite fighter and be like, everybody hate my fighter? You know what I'm saying? Everybody got something negative to say. Boots ain't even do shit wrong. He just moved up in weight. He just moved up in weight, and everybody's talking about he's ducking niggas down at 147. Are you crazy? Are you crazy? This is Boots. Boots don't give a damn about that. Now they're talking about he ducked Crawford, and Crawford said that Boots didn't want to fight. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's like I'm lost in translation. What's really, did Boots really duck the fight, or what? Or was it the Showtime that he fight on Showtime? Was the business not right? there wasn't an avenue for them to sign up. You know what I'm saying? Like, if fighters really want to fight, they'll find a way to make that shit happen. But if you really don't give a damn, you'll let anything come in between you and the fight. So Boots is the hungry fighter. Crawford don't need Boots. Crawford don't need Boots. So if I was Boots, what I'm saying, I would do everything I can to get that fight, especially right now with Crawford being. I think Boots got the frame to fight up there. I'm sorry, he's a big dude. He's a big dude. You know what I'm saying? He's strong. He's young. He's athletic. If he fought Crawford right now at 168, it'll be a good fight. I think Crawford will beat his ass. Don't get me wrong. I think Crawford will beat Boots' ass right now, especially at that weight class. But it'll be a good goddamn fight. It'll be good. It'll be a good goddamn fight. Yes, it would be. Says, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm not talking about you 2 cents. You know what I'm saying? I'm just talking about the people that who's able to grow their channels and put I don't know if they got editors or stuff like that. But if I could do that shit, I'd be all up trying to make my shit larger too. But shit, I got a real goddamn job. You know what I'm saying? I can't. I be driving for like 10 hours across the country and shit like that. So you know, I be listening, what I'm saying? I be in the different people chat. So I can't keep up with a lot of my peers and stuff because I be, driving so much. So, it just be like that. I don't be having no beef with nobody. I just be listening in to see what the shit they talking about, you know. And so all this animosity that these channels have, what I'm saying? I have no part of it. I just be listening to see what the hell's going on. Who started what? You know what I'm saying? Why would somebody be jealous of you just because you know more boxing information? This is entertainment, you know. That's how I look at it anyway. It's entertainment, you know. It's impressive, you know what I'm saying? Blue blood is impressive. Fanon is impressive, but they put a lot of time into this shit. And they come from backgrounds where they can do what they do, especially for now. He's a lawyer. Probably, he just come from an information background. So, it's cool how you speak on sport, you know what I'm saying? But do they have egos? Oh my God. These niggas' head is bigger than the damn Statue of Liberty. You know what I'm saying? I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? It's like shit. We boxing nerds. You know what I'm saying? So why is your ego so goddamn big? You know what I'm saying? We up here researching shit in the entertainment field. So no, that's just kind of how I look at it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these motherfuckers be taking shit personally, like, if you talk about their favorite fighter, you know. But I see Boots, what I'm saying, doing well at 154, and I think that's what it's going to be. And I think he could take care of Madrinos. I know a lot of people are talking about the pound for pound list. I couldn't put Boots on the pound for pound list right now because there's just so many other good fighters. Is he one of the top elites right now? Yeah. Yeah, I give him a elite status. I give him an A, what I'm saying, for being, even though he hasn't fought anybody significant, but I wouldn't put him on the pound for pound list. You know what I'm saying, right now. Maybe an elite list, what I'm saying, fighters are the top fighters, but he's gonna have to beat somebody at 154. He's gonna have to beat somebody at a high level, what I'm saying. And before I put him on that special, now he's tagged with the expectation of being a special fighter, but he's still got to prove, to get to that status. He's got to fight somebody great. Say if he could beat Fundora, he'll be a special fighter, in my opinion. Because I think Fundora, I think he's the litmus test. I think he's the litmus test at 154, right? Because the dude is 6'6", what I'm saying, WBC champion, and he's beating people ass, and he's fighting the fights too. So we can't say Fundora. He's fighting the top names at 154. So we got to give him credit. So he is the litmus test, right? Madronov, they tough guys, but so that's a good tune up for the champion. That's a good, he had the belt, but Crawford just came in with a year layoff and beat his ass. Like, what I'm saying? And he only had the damn belt for 5 seconds before he had to give it up. You know what I'm saying? So he has no lasting power. Then of course we just saw Bokuchuk get his ass destroyed. We saw that I really thought Bokuchuk and Madronov was going to be tougher than he was, but they didn't pan out. They came in hot though. They came in hot, but they got broke the fuck down because you got Virgil Ortiz smoking, you know what I'm saying, coming in there, tough, you know. Who is that? Who, oh, he's fighting Eric Lubin, right? So he got a lot to lose in that fight. You know, I mean, he don't have a belt yet, and he's fighting tough fights. And and that's why I got to give them Texas boys. They put it on the line. Them Texas boys, they put it on the line. Fort Worth, I hate Fort Worth because it's too much traffic. But them Fort Worth boys, they coming. You know, so them Texas boys, they tough. You know, I think Boots and Eric Lubin is a hot fight, and I don't want to say it's a safe fight for Virgil Ortiz, but it's definitely a good litmus test for him for 154. I thought maybe Madronov was a tougher fight for him, but Bokachuk ended up being the one. Knocked him down 2 times. You know what I'm saying? So if he could be knocked down by Bokachuk, he damn sure could be knocked down by Eric Lubin. You know, but it depends on what version of Eric Lubin that we get. You know what I'm saying? Because hopefully Eric Lubin is in a headspace the way he want to go. He want to match Virgil Ortiz's intensity in the ring. If he go blow for blow, you know what I'm saying? I think Virgil will beat him. But if he uses his boxing skills with the, you know what I'm saying, with fighting in the pocket a little bit, fighting on the outside a little bit, using his boxing skills and using his power, and using his experience, you know what I'm saying, from fighting champions and stuff. You know, I think he could definitely beat Virgil Ortiz. You know, and a lot of people want to, y'all got knee job shit. Y'all got some cold. You know, what I'm saying, don't old Jackie. He violated. I know he violated. So it was on the red shit. Texas boy too. You know, somebody in my comments. Um, so that's what who say Fulton 122 a long time. He's a boy naturally. He's been at the wrong way for this now. So I saw an interview saying that O'Shaq is going to be surprised how big he'll come in, right? Or how big that he shows up and everything. I said, oh, that's it. That's interesting. I want to see that. I already know school. Shit. We call and I thought, well, let's see a scoop. You know, old Jackie Foster, old Jackie Foster. And that a fight with Dan Mosley. Even they don't talk a little bit of shit. You know, they're very tense when they so that could be a hard right. So Shaky Foster for hard for shit else. I do think that that's going to be a battle of attrition You know, uh, is going to try to bully or Shaq Foster because he looks kind of wide. He got a wiry body. He don't look as physically strong as Fulton, and I think Fulton is going to try to bully him. You know what I'm saying? That might be a big mistake because Foster boxes ass. He's not a show. I definitely hate that little ponytail shit that he be rocking. You know what I'm saying? But if he can keep Fulton off him, he could win. He could win because he don't look as light on his feet as you think. You know what I'm saying? It don't look like he moves his feet is smooth when he fought anyway. And I don't know because anyway just might be exceptional. You know what I'm saying, as far as the foot speed and the hand speed, but he's moving up to what 130? What's that, 130? And or is it 135? 130, what is I think it's 130. You know what I'm saying? I think he's the champion at 130 with Shacky Foster. Uh Shacky Foster. Yeah, he's at 130, you know. So be fight that we have yeah, for history, right? Them boys definitely do like it. And talk shit, I like it. That's commendable. Let me see. I'm the link. If anybody want to come on. Yeah, I'm hanging out today. I don't know tomorrow. So I'm here, you know. See. So y'all been checking out the interviews and things, you know what I'm saying? So everybody's been pretty tame. I'm Sugar Shane Mosley being inside of Devin camp. Do you think this is going to change the trajectory for uh, Devin? I mean, do you think it's going to help him out? Or, what I'm saying? I mean, Sugar Shane Mosley, he got a lot of experience. Um, Damn, the damn link won't even drop. It's like, man, this is bad business right here. Tell me what you guys think. That's why I'm dropping the link. See if you guys, I'm tired of talking. Let me see. There you go. So let me get some of your opinions, you know what I'm saying? See what y'all think about, stuff that I've dropped today. What do you think about T.O.? You know what I'm saying? Is he going to be a menace, what I'm saying, to himself? You know, I mean, look like he sabotaged himself. So that's just kind of interesting to me to be on top of the world and have all these opportunities. And then you just, you just shoot yourself in the foot, you know, you know, which is he like Tank? Is he afraid to lose? You know what I'm saying? Is he afraid to take that walk of humiliation? I mean, he already experienced it with Cambosos, right? He had, I mean, and that was kind of worse if you think about it, because Cambosos wasn't even considered, you know what I'm saying, a top elite guy. He was just somehow he just got there. Somehow he just got there, by beating Bay, by beating Bay. You know what I'm saying? Bay was a good fighter. They just caught him off a layoff, a long ass layoff. He wouldn't have beat Bay if Bay was on his game, you know. So yeah, I just dropped the link. If anybody want to come up, talk about, Devin Haney, what they think about the fight, the Brian Norman Jr. fight. Um, the Keith Thurman fight, the Teofimo Shakur fight. You know what I'm saying? There's the link. Let's get some thoughts. Let's get some ideas. You know what I'm saying? See what y'all got on it. Doc Kent, anybody? You know what I'm saying? If you're still out there, hit the link. You know what I'm saying? I done been talking for a goddamn hour, 2 hours straight. So y'all know how I do. You know what I'm saying? Hit the link. Uh, I think David Benavidez, you know what I'm saying? He respects Anthony Yard. He does. But David right now, he's in a zone. You know what I'm saying? He's feeding into that Mexican monster mantra thing. You know what I'm saying? That's his alter ego. And he looked at himself as a not a boxer, but a warrior, as he was saying on the interview. And I was eating that shit up. I'm like, shit, nigga, that's that 300 shit that we talking about. I want to see. That's the mentality that I want to see all other fighters have. You know, I want you to come in there and want to whip ass, and that's what David wants to do. And I think he's going to put a hurting on Anthony Yard. Because of course, we know his shortcomings, his stamina ain't all the way there. Let's just keep it. And I've already told 2 cents about them braids. It's something about niggas with braids that they just, they just don't cut the mustard. You had one of them Russells, with the braids, you know what I'm saying? And, these niggas ain't, I don't know how Andy Cruz is doing so goddamn well, I'll tell you the truth. I really don't, you know what I'm saying? Because it's all about the braids, y'all. That's my theory. That's my little personal theory. Niggas with braids ain't gonna make it. You know what I'm saying? Um, Dreads and braids are different. It's like, they got their own little thing going on with the dreads. But these niggas with the braids, look at Javante Tank Davis. He got ever since the nigga started rocking the goddamn braids, his whole career been fucked up. His whole career been fucked up ever since he put the braids on. You know what I'm saying? Getting arrested, all kind of shit. So, you know, I don't know with this how this Jake Paul deal is gonna work out, but I know his reputation is taking a beating. And I know that even if he didn't have this Jake Paul fight, he's got to make it up to the people, his boxing fans. You know what I'm saying? If he's going to stay in the sport, maybe he's just having a tantrum. And we're seeing a whole nother side of Javante Tank Davis. Seeing a whole nother side. I don't hold it against him. It's his career. It don't take no money out my pocket. You know what I'm saying? It don't hurt me personally if he, want to cuss out all the boxing fans, if he want to lose fans. Nobody wants to buy another pay-per-view by Javante Tank Davis. It don't hurt. It don't hurt nothing, you know. But for him to get back to the level where he should be, he's going to have to fight Lamont Roach, and he's going to have to fight some elite. He might, even if he have to go up to 140 and take out somebody up there. That's the only way he's going to be able to climb back to the status to where he was. Like when he went up and fought Marius Boreals. That was a damn good move. You know what I'm saying? Because he did challenge himself and move up to another weight class. You know what I'm saying? So I think he's going to have to do things like that. But Tank is a small guy, you know, and he might have to fight off of one of the young up and coming guys. You know what I'm saying? Like a Abdullah Mason. Maybe you have to take him out. But I don't know if he would accept that fight. I would like to think that Abdullah Mason is the type of guy that would take any kind of challenge, and that would be a good opportunity for him. You know what I'm saying? To grow his name, to grow his brand, you know what I'm saying? To get a fight like that, if Tank was to come back, if he was to stay in, you know, he would have to fight a name, but he did a lot of damage to his career. He did a lot of damage to his career. Um, Maybe he'll just take a break. We got Errol Smith Jr., he took 2 years off. You got Jamil Charlo, he took 2 years off. So, Tank could take a break and come back. I could see that happening. And he'll still have a lot of shitload of fans if he come back, because everybody needs a break, right? Hell, I need a break from my goddamn job. You know what I'm saying? I get out here and shit, and I be dragging when I'm, delivering chemicals and all kind of shit like that. My people, sometimes I be out for 2 months straight, and they make me take time off. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. I get it. I understand the human side of it. I can see Tank's side, but the diss your fans, I don't understand that. The people that's been supporting you, and maybe he just lump everybody together. I don't know. You know. Oh yeah. You saw when Mayweather came back when he fought Marquez, and they say Mayweather ducked Paul the Punisher and some others. Wiking Wright. Uh, they said Floyd didn't want to fight them guys. You know, because defensive specialist Winky Wright. He was a nightmare to deal with. Motherfucker forearms cover his whole upper body. Long arms, just a weird, you know, uh, orangutan type body. You know what I'm saying? But they say Floyd, when he went into retirement, that he did not want to face those guys. Now I don't know how true that is, or does Floyd, had been fighting for a while, hands fucked up, uh, weak and brittle. He didn't want to fight them dudes, right? But when he came back, no ring rush, y'all. But then Floyd is, of course, a phenom himself. He stays in the gym. Them dudes that's crazy, mentally insane like that, to stay in the gym, they're not going to worry about the ring rush because they never rested. Especially when he's running the doghouse shit in his gym. You know. So and Floyd is still talking about coming back to this day. He ain't gonna leave until somebody whip his ass. He ain't gonna leave until somebody whip his ass. Because just like Floyd will tell you in your ear, you got to kill me. But that's back when he was really competing. So, he's got that dog in him. I see that dog in Shakur. They really Tio is gonna have to. He's gonna have to like really beat Shakur ass. Because even though Shakur, he moves around, he don't go toe to toe. You know, Tio's gonna have to beat the greatness out of Shakur Stevenson. 'Cause I don't see Tio beating Shakur in a boxing match. He's gonna have to catch Shakur, what I'm saying, and he's gonna have to convince Shakur that he ain't great. And I think that's gonna if Shakur loses that fight, I think that's the fight that's gonna bring some reality to him. Like, I got some shit to work on. But it's gonna take a long time to take that first loss in for Shakur. Because he walks around like he is fucking invincible. He walks around like he's knocking out motherfuckers, two fighters at a time. I mean, he just got this S on his fucking chest. I'm not mad at him. I think every fighter should have that kind of confidence. I think he should. You know what I'm saying? But now he's talking about another weight class, and they don't look at you like that. When you moving up, niggas don't look at you like that. You ain't Crawford, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Crawford can get away with that because Crawford been doing this shit since, you know, I remember Crawford back in 2008, on HBO. So Crawford got a whole lot more experience. He's seen a lot more stuff. So I don't know if Shakur can make that same leap with the same kind of confidence and have the same kind of performance. Because when it was time for him to step up against Edward Santos, it wasn't good, and that's what O'Shaquie Foster was talking about. That's pretty much what he was talking about. When he comes across somebody who's just as athletic as him, and Tank came across somebody just as athletic as him, somebody who was pumped up and motivated to make him take a L. Them the fights you want. You know what I'm saying? Tank just kind of folded from the pressure. Can he beat Lamont Roach? I think he could destroy Lamont Roach, but I think you got to be in the right mind space for it, and they have to run it back. So, I don't know why is he mad with everybody for wanting him to see what every other boxer's supposed to do. If you have a controversial win, you just get back into the ring. That's it. You know, that's all you got to do. That's all what anybody wants. That fight's kind of exposed, the mentality of, and I'm not saying that's who he is. I'm just saying at that moment in time, that's just how Tank felt. You know, that's just how he felt. This dude here was giving it to Tank, and that dude was up for the challenge, but Tank just wasn't in the right mind space for it. And he knew who he was fighting, so so I'm surprised that he underestimated that guy because they've had some wars in the gym. But when you got somebody that knows you and you know them, they get better too. As you get better, they getting better, right? And then they're extra motivated to take you down because They always had a rivalry in the gym. Hmm. That's why I'm all so complex about Errol Spence Jr. You know, he knew Crawford was coming, and they've had this rivalry for a while. So he knew how Crawford was coming, motivated wise, spiritually wise, what I'm saying, hungry wise. He knew Crawford was coming to prove a point. So I'm just surprised that he couldn't raise his game, or maybe he just knew he was outmatched. I don't know. I wish I could interview Errol Spence Jr. I don't know if he would appreciate the personal nature of my questions, but you know, I mean, I would definitely ask him those questions. Say, hey man, didn't you know this man was coming to whip your ass? I mean, come on. That's how full count boxing do interviews. I'd be like, what the hell happened? You know what I'm saying? You need, ever since y'all get these little pretty ass little Instagram chicks. I'm not saying I don't know if that man, woman is Instagram or not, but when y'all seem to get into life and y'all start getting a little bit of money, y'all just forget to train. Get your life together. And I thought that he was doing that. I think somebody said that Tank wasn't living the fighter lifestyle. You know, so I don't know how much of this stuff be true, but when you do see something off in their performance, you just kind of, you just kind of speculate. That's all. We on the outside looking in, so who knows why Tank had it? And sometimes you just have an off night. What I'm saying, sometimes you have an off night. That happens too. You know, but you ain't gonna be able to explain it. So it's hard to take that mindset when you trolling other fighters when they lose, right? So nobody's gonna have pity on you. What I'm saying, when you have a bad performance. So other people are looking at you. Now look at you. Look at your performance. You were laughing at me. Now they laughing at you, right? And it happens to all fighters, y'all. What I'm saying, this ain't nothing new. Nobody stays at the top forever. Remember that. Nobody stays at the top forever. Everybody got they day where somebody got your number, and you're gonna have to dig deep. You're gonna have to dig deep to get through that fight, even if you don't look good, and you may have to run it back. And these fighters just rather avoid a tough fight rather than running it back. They just rather, because Shakur should have ran that fight back with Edward Santos. He should have run it right back. Hmm. And then Shakur said that he had a hurt hand. So if you had a hurt hand when you fought that man, then why didn't you run it back once your hand healed? That should have been the first fight. But no, you just want to ignore it, get past it, and look good in the next fight. That's despicable. So I don't give none of them a pass, y'all. I love the fighters, you know what I'm saying? I know I'm just a boxing fan, but these are opinions. Opinions like asshole. Everybody got them. So you don't have to listen to it, right? So all these people who get offended, blue blood, you know what I'm saying? I don't say Champ Side, because Champ Side, I think, he just Champ Side is just more of a fact type person, you know what I'm saying? If you're speaking from speculation and you ain't got nothing to back it up, he's gonna try to go in a little bit on you, because he don't respect the YouTuber space to fans who just speaking on opinion, because he's more of a journalist, right? So that's his thing, man. He like to confirm things and then speak on it, which I have no problem with. Champ's not been doing this shit forever, so I don't look at him as no god or nothing like that. It's just that's how he operates, right? So I love his stuff, and when I go to different creators, what I'm saying, I just listen to what the hell they saying. That's it, what I'm saying. So I don't it don't be no emotions in this shit. Um, it's just boxing talk. So I don't get it. Why people get so wound up about their favorite fighter. You know, maybe because my favorite fighter is up out of this shit. Maybe that's what it is. I used to get crazy about the negotiations between Errol Spence and Crawford. You know what I'm saying? But now Errol Spence Jr. got beat. You move on, right? So it's not like you could take the ass whipping back. Or once your fighter get beat or take a L. or their reputation get ruined. Ain't nothing you could do about it. All you could do is move on and look for the next fight, right? So, am I surprised that Javante Take Davis is you know doing what he's doing? Yes, I am. But I mean, boxing it'll live. Boxing the move. You got Carmel Moten coming, and it look like he's going to be a little tough, little something. He kind of reminds me of Tank. I don't know where Mayweather pick up these little short, little light skinned dudes with all this power, but I don't know. It maybe is a place in Washington D.C. Where it's a bunch of short ass one little short nigga just went around getting everybody pregnant, um, and just had all these little powerful little short ass light skinned niggas around. I don't know, but what I'm saying, Mayweather know how to find them, and for some reason he don't want to hire nobody taller than him. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just an ego thing. He don't want to hire nobody taller than him. You know, that's just my observation. Mhm. So yeah, but moving forward, these are the fights that we got on the table. What I'm saying? Everybody's scared. Nobody want to come up. What I'm saying? Like I said, I've been talking for goddamn 2 hours. What I'm saying? Let me drop the link and see if anybody want to come up and talk about these fights. And what I'm saying? If not, we'll close it out. You know what I'm saying? Shit. There you go. What I'm saying? So um let's see. What else can we talk about? Let me see. We just talked about Crawford getting arrested. What I'm saying? I don't think that's gonna be a big deal right there. I think Crawford will be okay. What I'm saying? He'll bounce back. Plus he ain't got no fights on the horizon. But let's talk about who Crawford can fight. You know, Shit, Crawford can fight everybody. They keep trying to force this man David Benavidez. David Benavidez has come out and said that he's willing to come down to 168. And I talked about shit so much. David already said that he don't want to fight Crawford, right? But I think they want to use David to take Crawford out of that position. They're thinking about that. I don't know what his race is, but the guy supposed to be like next in line. What I'm saying, to fight for a belt. Crawford got all the belts. What's his name? Hara, Sheezy, something like that. That dude, he wants to fight. So if Crawford decides to fight him, he'll school him too. That dude ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? Crawford to beat him too. But Crawford got all kind of options. Um, I think a lot of people want him to come back down to 154, but that'll be a lot of work for Crawford because yeah, but they already said they're not coming back down. So I don't know what Crawford's going to do. He got options at 160 if he wants to try to be undisputed at 160. I think Janabak is calling out for Crawford to come down to 160. He's talking a lot of shit. He got exhibitions that he can do. I bet you any amount of money that he can make a deal with Jake Paul. You know what I'm saying? Crawford could definitely, but see, Jake Paul ain't gonna fuck with no damn Crawford. Jake Paul is not gonna try to fuck with Crawford because that's a real fighter, and he ain't too far off. Crawford did knock Jake Paul out, and he knows it. If he he fought Tyson, a 60-year-old man. He's fighting all these crazy fights. You know what I'm saying? He's not looking to fight somebody that's real like Crawford. So, you know, yeah, that wouldn't work. Jake Paul ain't looking for no challenge. And plus, he couldn't talk shit to Crawford either like that. So Crawford slapped shit out of him. No, he could not talk shit to Crawford. Crawford ain't fit to stand there and let him, you know, talk about he can't read and all this bullshit. Crawford and went over there. Wouldn't be no fight. That shit would end quick. You know. So Jake Paul, I could see Crawford going down to 160 and fighting Carlos Adames. That would be good. Or taking out Laura. Shakur Stevenson said that he want Crawford to retire. I was surprised to hear that. You know, I was surprised to hear Shakur say that. All the training camps and he done so much. There's nothing else to do in the sport. Well, how you know that? What if that man want to be undisputed 4 times? You know what I'm saying? But I just think he's afraid for Crawford to. I think he'll think it'll ruin his legacy if he lose, right? Because he got a perfect record, and he don't want to see that stain on his record because that's what he aspired to do, right? Same things that Crawford has done. So he still, I could see Stevenson kind of got that mentality where he wants to be perfect. He wants to be like Floyd. He wants to, not take a loss. But shit, the more elevated and elites that you fight in this boxing game, you gonna take a loss, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? Unless you just cherry pick your ass off throughout your career, right? And unless you got defensive skills like Floyd Mayweather. People don't understand. Floyd Mayweather had exceptional, supernatural boxing skills, right? The timing, and plus he was obsessed with being in the gym. So with that, with that comes, with that comes, you know, it comes all the accolades. So you're gonna be better than other fighters, right? Because your work your work ethic is crazy. What's going on, Mister? What's Mr. Respect? What's going on, bro?
Hey, what's going on, poor Carter? Man, I was listening to you cook, man. I'm gonna say this, man, and a lot of people don't favor this right now, but I'm gonna tell you, there's only one
Mm-hmm.
fight for Bud. There's only one fight for Bud. They're gonna deny it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's coming down the line, and that's Bud versus
Canelo
David
Charles.
Benavidez. Huh?
Oh fuck.
Hey,
No, he already said he don't want to fight
I
him.
know he
But they
also
keep
said,
building the shit up. Like,
hey,
yeah,
that's what
yeah,
I'm
go
trying to
ahead.
tell you. Remember, he said he didn't want the Canelo fight initially, but if you go
Yeah,
listen
and
to the
Canelo
strength.
said he didn't want to fight. Yeah,
Yeah, but if you go
yeah.
listen to the strength and conditioning coach, the interview with him, he said they heard about a Canelo fight after the Spence fight. So they already knew that was in works. And just like this, they watching it, they're gonna watch that Benavidez yard fight, and it's gonna set up Crawford versus Benavidez. It's a tough fight, but this will make them great. Everybody gonna believe in Benavidez. All the storylines are there. Can Benavidez avenge Canelo? Can Benavidez avenge his brother? Is Benavidez world class? We don't know that. Is Benavidez world class? We don't
Shit.
really know.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute, Mr. Respect. You said David Benavidez ain't world class?
I'm
Did I
saying
hear that coming from a boxing aficionado? Oh my God.
yes. Because what I'm saying is he has good wins, but he's searching for his great win. He's searching
Oh,
like if he beats
well,
Crawford, now he's world class. If he would have beat Canelo, he would be world class. Well, right now he only got Caleb Plant, bro, and Andrade, which are good wins. Don't get me wrong, but does that really make you ready for Crawford?
but that's Crawford is like an anomaly though, don't you think? You
Well,
know what I'm saying?
that's what
Because
I'm
he
saying.
haven't like
Go ahead.
he hasn't really nobody at 168. He only beat one person at 54. Now Crawford is a great fighter because of those feats. But I think when you fight the division, fight a couple of people at 168. I'm talking about Dave. I'm talking about, to be considered, like an all-time great like Crawford. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he has to beat Crawford. 'Cause I don't think Crawford really belongs at 168. I don't
Okay.
look at him as a. Hmm.
And he's not. He's not. This the catch. I know it sounds crazy right now. The catch is he's gonna fight David Benavidez at 175. You see what I mean? Because he's not gonna want his opponent weight drain. He ain't gonna want no excuses. So if he fights him, it's gonna be at 170. They say he only got 2 or 3 fights left. If he beat Benavidez, we can believe he could beat Bivol if he can beat Benavidez. That gets you undisputed, four times undisputed at 175. What I'm talking about with the Benavidez fight, it's a style thing. Is Benavidez got fast feet? Can his feet keep up with Crawford? Can Crawford turn him, go to his stomach? Benavidez like the high guard. Can Crawford get off combination punches? It's a much more winnable fight than people think it is.
No, I don't think so. And this
It's a
is why.
hard fight. It's a hard fight, but we want to
No,
see our great fighters be great, man.
no. I'm not saying that I wouldn't want to see it. What I'm saying is, even Crawford said that David is too big. And this is another thing. You know, Crawford definitely got more boxing skills than David. He definitely got that. But do Crawford have the ability? Now, if Crawford goes up to 175 and he can hurt David Benavidez, I'm going to tell you something. Victor Conte, Victor Conte. I'm just going to tell you something. You can't skip up that. See, he's going to be a black Manny Pacquiao. You know what I'm saying? That's really, you know what I'm saying? Really. You know what I'm saying? If he can go up there and hurt David Benavidez, that means he can go to heavyweight. That means he can go to heavyweight. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, he might.
Like, come on. I'm just saying, y'all. People are still human beings, my brother. That's all I'm saying. You know,
And that might be
people are
true, but
still.
you go. I'm sorry.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. No, what I would say,
No,
man. But Crawford is a special. He's a special fighter that has abilities that I think can mess with a lot of fighters. I'm not saying by no means it's an easy fight. We know David Benavidez hand speed, he's taller and all that. But what I'm saying is, what else fight is Turkey gonna pay the amount of money for? You see what I mean? You gotta think about that too. And if you telling me you got Crawford versus Benavidez in Omaha, Nebraska, that's a big fight.
no, it is a big fight just because of what Crawford has achieved with Canelo, because he just took down one of the most propagandized champions in the world. But I never thought Canelo was who everybody was saying who he was. And
And
I
that's
think
true.
Crawford saw that. I think that's why Crawford went up there, because he knew it was on some bullshit, because he grew up with Canelo through the championship division. Just because the Mexicans thought Canelo could fly to fucking in outer space and lift block meteorites with his goddamn forearm. No, we knew Canelo in his biggest fights. He barely won against Laura, against Austin Trout. You know what I'm saying? He barely won these fights. You know what I'm saying? So Crawford already knew what time it was with Canelo. It's just that he's insulated himself through his power that he had accrued in boxing, right? He insulated himself. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Him, Triple G, they both insulated. All I thought said, shit, nobody else can fight goddamn Canelo and Triple G but them two. Because they knew what time it was. They kept Ward from fighting Triple G, so they know how to move. So Crawford looked at him like, man, you ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? But he look at David Benavidez and he know he's the real deal. He look at David. David ain't coming like that, bro. David is using all his body, his weight, and he's gonna fucking destroy you. You know what I'm saying? It's like Crawford, he got a lot of good skills, but that weight, that extra weight at 175, and I'm pretty sure they're not gonna give Crawford a year to work out and prepare for David Benavidez, but he's probably preparing for him now if he's gonna fight him.
They best
You know what I'm saying?
believe it.
So if he's gonna take that fight, he better be preparing now. You know what I'm saying? Or it might be like you said. I don't know why they deny the fight just to get the fight on. You know what I'm saying? So I don't understand it, because the hype is still going on between David and Crawford. And I don't want to see Crawford take a loss at 175. Tell you the truth. Even though he has nothing to lose, because if he did go up there and lose, it wouldn't be no harm, no foul, because he don't really belong up there. And if David really have more to lose than Crawford, because if he let a pumped up 165, 68 pounder come up there and beat him, then what does that say about his legacy and what he's been doing?
And now
He
what?
ain't the Mexican.
Okay,
Go
what
ahead.
we learned from the Canelo fight is that now that makes it a hard fight. Are you gonna let this little guy come up here and beat you too? Now it becomes psychological. You see what I mean? Now, in an interview that Crawford did with Cam Newton, I think it was. I don't know if you watched that interview when it was. I think it was that interview, but they asked him about David Benavidez. He no doubt. He said, "Man, David Benavidez is a big guy. He probably gonna come in 200 pounds, such and such and such." But at the end of the interview, he said, "But I believe in my skills against anybody." That fight is coming down the pipeline, man. They're gonna deny it. They're gonna deny it, and then it's
I
gonna come.
believe it, man. Because I thought it was put to rest, but the more I hear about it, you know what I'm saying, the more I hear about, because just like the Canelo, that's how the Canelo thing was. They kept denying. I said, why do they keep putting it out there that he denied the damn fight? It don't make no sense. Once the man said he don't want to fight no more, why do they keep talking about it and bringing it back up in the media? So that's how you know something else is going on.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
think they're gonna watch the
that's
Yardy fight. If David show any kind of vulnerability against Yardy, 'cause I think Yardy could expose him in the first 6 rounds, but after that, Benavidez is probably gonna take over. But they're probably gonna be looking at how he deals with Yardy. Ain't Yardy a southpaw?
who was it? Who Southpaw you said?
The one David Benavidez for Yard is Yard a southpaw?
I think he is, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, I think he is.
He
I
only
think they're
gonna
gonna
last.
watch that fight. I think they're gonna watch that fight closely and see how David handles Yard. Because one thing I can give some
Yeah,
people, I heard they say Terrence Crawford was a little bit of a weight bully, and when I saw the interview with the strength and the conditioning coach, clearly he was, because he was having problems making 147. They say he barely made 154. You see what I mean? So when he fought
yeah,
Canelo, he ain't had to lose but so much weight. So he was smiling in camp. So we seen him at 186. So 175, he only has to lose 7 pounds. He's not gaining weight. He's losing weight now. The idea for the fans and the casual fans is that he's gaining weight. But in actuality, he just loses less weight.
yeah. Check this out. So here's more on what Crawford. He got arrested right after his parade.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
It says saying that just before 1:30 a.m. local time, local Omaha time, said police stopped a vehicle that was driving recklessly. During a traffic stop, the police observed a firearm on the driver's side on the floorboard, and for safety, all four occupants was ordered out the vehicle at gunpoint. Says the driver of the vehicle was identified as Crawford, who issued a citation for reckless driving. All four occupants in the car were legally permitted to carry firearms, including the member of Crawford's security team who was carrying his own weapon at the time of the traffic stop. So a police supervisor, lieutenant, also responded to the scene At Crawford's request, must be knows people in the police department. As a result, the traffic stop Omaha Chief Taj whatever in internal affairs investigation. Oh shit. Okay. So he got a little good treatment, and they ain't want to go. They ain't going for that shit. So now
Yeah.
they got internal affairs. He said I learned Omaha police pulled over Crawford and traffic stop downtown early after I spoke this. Bud Crawford, I acknowledge the seriousness that occurred and how trust between law enforcement and our community is important. Okay, so that ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? He'll be all right. Just don't ride with
Yeah.
your cousins, bro. Don't go home and ride with
Yeah.
your cousins.
But he
Your
also
cousins
get a
got a
reality
bag.
check. He also get a
Yeah,
reality check. Them white folks, all them white folks don't like you in Omaha. Some of them hating. They know who Crawford is.
right. They seen his black ass up in there. They in there smoking weed and drinking beer and shit between the legs. You can't do that shit no more with your cousins when you go home. You know,
Hell no.
they be ready for that shit. But I used to drink beer like that all the time. God damn it, riding around shit. Hell no, not in this day and age. God damn, they got shit for DUI, driving while you smoking shit. Under the influence. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, God damn. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
So yeah, Crawford, he should have known that was coming. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Hey,
They can't
maybe more
stand.
black. Hey, maybe more black fans are like him now since they unseen him with the police lights and shit.
Well, I think he got a lot of black fans. It's just black people. One thing about black, he seemed to put more stock into the European side of when it comes to his business and stuff. And it's hard to do business with black people because we do like some janky ass shit. You know what I'm saying? So it do kind of like shakes out like that a lot because you try to do business with a lot of black businesses, they increase the prices. You know what I'm saying? They just don't want to do shit the right way. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I get it, Crawford. You know, I get it. You don't really want to fuck with black people because the shit be janky. You know, but
Yeah. I mean,
it hurts his. hmm
but I'm
What you
saying,
say?
but if you look at it from the boxer's point of view, they look at this internet and here you done got all these accomplishments and they trash you, they trash you, they trash you. You're gonna feel some kind of way, man, because you like, I did the work, I did this, I did that, yet they still trashing them, and then they raise up a guy who really ain't done nothing. You see what I'm saying? Ain't done half as much, and they cheer for that particular guy. So sometimes stardom, you
Yeah,
don't know how it's gonna work out for you.
But Crawford really, I mean, it's all about who you fight, though, and you know this. All black people know it ain't about accolades. It's about who you fought to get those accolades. You know what I'm saying? It's not that's the problem. You know what I'm saying? You can't be a great fighter unless you fight another great fighter. That's it. That's all. You could beat up Ricky Burns all day. You could beat up 5, 6, 7 Ricky Burns. You could be 18 posters. But until you beat Earl Spence Jr., that's when your name resonates. I don't understand how we forget that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, nobody wants to see you beat up Joe Smo. You know what I'm saying? But when you beat a Errol Spence Jr., when you beat a name, that's when people look at you and say, "Hey, man, this dude here, he's great. But he beat his rival." You know, that's was his problem. He never got the name. You know what I'm saying? Coming up, if he would have fought, uh, if he could have fought Oscar De La Hoya, he didn't come up during that time. But if he would have fought some of the Ike Corley, anybody that was a threat to beat him, and his name would have resonated. He beat Gamboa, but Gamboa, he had to get pulled up. So it's just the fighters that came along during his time. They didn't have good stock with people, and people really wasn't checking for the lighter weights because most black people, they don't really like the lighter weights like that.
Sure.
135 is where the glamour starts. You know what I'm saying? So he was a great fighter before, but it's just nobody wasn't checking for those divisions. Um, but if he would have started his career at 147, I think he would have been a whole lot more popular, and he would have did his part with the interviews. I think people would have knew who he was, even though I knew who he was back then. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people knew who he was in boxing back then. It's just those weight classes just didn't have the names. I think it wasn't until Gamboa that he started, getting a lot of recognition because that fight was so good, and it was back and forth. He showed some adversity, showed some heart, and it was, damn, who is this dude? You know what I'm saying? For it put him on the radar. And you got to fight a name. Gamboa showed that. Gamboa, he was a spectacular little firecracker, and he made some waves. So and Bud went in there and destroyed him. So it put him on the map. So you got to fight a name. You know, that's the problem. When he
Yeah,
told when he
go
told
ahead.
Canelo when he told Canelo, he said, "Well, Canelo said, who have you fought?" And then he said, Ricky Burns. I said, God damn. He said Ricky Burns. He says, Poster. He's like, Poster. He's seen a sparring partner, a 50-year-old sparring partner beat up Poster. And I was like, oh God, this is embarrassing. You know what I'm saying? So it's just the names. That's it. You know,
Okay,
I think that's why he caught push here.
okay. Well, two things could be true. That well, everything you're saying is definitely true. But when you're talking
Right.
about breaking down the fight, the resumes don't fight, and that's what happened. People think that it's all about who you fight. In our time today, this not like we compare it to the
It
older
is.
times
It
when
is.
everybody fought. In
Right.
today's time, you got to be signed to
Right.
the right promotional company to get fights. These people ain't
Yep.
crossing these fights over. So some guys are good that don't get a chance to fight nobody
Sometimes they do.
until they get a
Sometimes.
chance to fight somebody. Then everybody is shocked. No, this guy was good the whole time. They avoided this guy. They told him you have to wait till clean up the
Right.
side of the
Which is
street.
it now?
So
Which is it? Which
but
is
this is
it?
what I'm saying. This
Is
is what
it
I'm saying.
that?
We watch guys, and some guys we give credit for lesser wins, and some guys that we'll say, well, no, that guy was always already finished. Everybody he fought was already finished when he fought him. Yet when he
That's
do
a
fight
cop
the
out.
best guy,
Respect. Respect.
huh?
That's a cop out, man. That's a cop out, bro. Because that's a cop out. Because
But I'm saying
it
even
puts
before that, Sean Porter, Kell Brook, they said the same thing about them. Oh, they was already done when Crawford fought him or whatever. And yet still not looking at, he beat some guys. You're just taking it away from him and not looking at it because you choose not to look at it, or you giving an excuse for not looking at it. But he beat
I think you're
the,
assuming.
huh?
That's an assumption though. Because that's an assumption because I think back in 2018, when Bud went back to top rank. See, the promotional companies, they were calling, remember when Bob Arum was calling Al Heyman a cancer to boxing?
Yeah,
Remember? They were
yeah.
fighting. They were suing each other. I think it was Oscar De La Hoya, Top Rank, and I think it was somebody else got together and put a lawsuit against the PBC. You know what I'm saying? People, see, you got to put it all together. Why these guys, didn't, because the promotional companies, they were trying to push Al out. They was trying to freeze him out. You know what I'm saying? Because there was an upstart company coming in. They, took all the Oscar De La Hoya people, Jermaine, Spence and Jamel and other fighters were part of that. You know what I'm saying? With Richard,
Schaefer,
Schumer, what's his name?
Schaefer,
Schaefer,
Richard Schaefer. Yeah.
right? Took all his goddamn fighters. So they had lawsuits, all kind of shit going on, right? So the PBC emerged as the powerhouse in boxing. So you see what I'm saying? So Crawford was just there during a tumultuous time. He stayed with Top Rank. Everybody was excited to see him if he was going to sign with the PBC, and he went back to Top Rank. You know what I'm saying? And everybody was just like, "What the fuck going on?" You know what I'm saying? Why are you going over there, bro, when all the fighters, all the welterweights are over at the PBC? So, I hate going through all this revisionist history, but you know what I'm saying? Crawford, if he just would have fought the names, I think, especially when they were champions, you know what I'm saying? I think he would have got more recognition. That's all. He says, Fool, how come they don't say this about Tank? He said they believe Tank can make any fight he wants, but Bud could have went to the PBC but re-signed with Top Rank. It's hypocrisy, and it's a double standard. Um, well, I think with Tank, because he came up under Mayweather, and Mayweather have the perception. I don't know if you fell off, Mr. Respect. I'll put the link back down in case you want to come back up. Um, I think with Mayweather, what I'm saying, because he had all the power, everybody thought that Tank had, he started with Mayweather, that he had all the, he just had the cachet, he had the power to pretty much fight who he wanted to fight, right? Because, you coming from the great legendary Mayweather, right? And we all know that's bullshit, that a lot of people don't want to work with Mayweather, especially Top Rank, because Mayweather left Top Rank, brought out his contract, and he had issues with Bob Arum. You know what I'm saying? Maybe Bob Arum feel like he made Mayweather, but you know, Mayweather wanted to do his own thing too. And look what happened for him. You know what I'm saying? So for Tank to be coming up under that Mayweather banner, and he's got that stigma, saying that Mayweather, and it made him a star. So people just put expectations on Tank. They give power that they don't actually have, right? They put expectation and standards on Tank that because Tank don't control the business side of his career. Tank just want to fight who he want to fight. You know what I'm saying? And that be that. Make him some money, and he don't care about the legacy aspect of proving that he can beat the top guys. And that was shocking to most people. But for a lot of people, it wasn't shocking, right? Because when he didn't want to fight Lomachenko back then, and Floyd would threaten Tank to with that fight. Um, that kind of showed you who Tank was. I didn't believe it at the time. I just thought, shit, he's young, he's still developing. Let him get a couple of good fights in before he fights Lomachenko. Lomachenko got 10,000 fights in the amateurs and shit. He came in when he got damn near 35 years old. Motherfucker's a grown ass man. You know what I'm saying? Coming in, he's getting championship shots, right out the goddamn gate. So let Tank get his feet up under him before he face him, right? That's what I was thinking. But little did I know that Tank just didn't want to fight the dudes. He just didn't want to fight the top dudes. So, they put that on Tank just because the way he moved, basically. And fair or unfair, that's just what it is in boxing. If you're not trying to fight the best, people are going to look down on. Or if you don't get the names, no matter what the reason, they don't give a fuck what the reason is. Nigga, you can have one leg. You know what I'm saying? If you still fighting, people don't care if you don't get the names. You know what I'm saying? The fight, and you fighting dudes they think that's beneath you, and that's really a compliment to Tank, a compliment to Crawford. That what I'm saying, that people, they look at you and think you should have better competition because they think that much of you. Look at Boots. He's fighting Uma or whatever, and people are looking at Boots crazy already. Like, damn. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get the fights, but until Boots get the names, people are going to talk crazy about it. Just like they did Mayweather, just like they did any other fighter. I try to get people to look at it like that. Until you fight your rival or somebody they think that could beat you, and then you go in there and you beat that person, and depending on how you beat him, because Canelo went life and death with Austin Trout, with Laura, and so he wasn't looked at by the real boxing fans as some kind of pound for pound great. He fought an old Sugar Shane Mosley. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, come on, bro. You know what I'm saying? Then all of a sudden you start moving like Mayweather. No, Mayweather had a pretty boy Floyd career. He had a money, and even in his Money Mayweather career, he fought Cotto. You know what I'm saying? He fought Madonna. He fought some good fights. So I don't know why they try to conflate that with Canelo. Oh, Mayweather did it. No, Mayweather did not do what you did, bro. He did not go on the European tour. You know what I'm saying? Mayweather was still fighting names, right? Top names that could beat him. So that's my only gripe. You know what I'm saying? If you're crying about you didn't get the recognition, it's your fault. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to take the fights that's gonna push your career forward. Just like Shakur Stevenson right now is fighting Teofimo Lopez. That's gonna put his name on the map. Because not when he fought Hearing wasn't shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he was a good fighter, don't get me wrong. But you know what I'm saying? He wasn't elite, right? So he's fighting Teofimo Lopez. You know, Teofimo Lopez's name got cachet. This is gonna, this is his signature fight. I think if Shakur would have beat Edwin Santos convincingly and separated himself, I think that would have pushed his name up just a little bit more because DeSantos can punch. He's athletic. You know, it's the opponent. It's the quality of the opponent. You know what I'm saying? And once you pass that test, then your name resonate with the boxing fans. People sing your praises. You know,
Okay.
even if
Hey,
you're great at.
what let me say that,
Mhm.
like, you right, like everything you're saying is spot on, right, especially for the fans. But sometimes the fans, they get caught up with like how we look at Crawford Spence, a lot of the fans were like, okay, Spence gonna go in here, you know, break his spirit, his body, his soul, and all this stuff, and they were shocked. My point is, the reason why you were shocked because you looked at resume, because you looked at these type of things. When I
No,
heard people say,
no,
but let me say this, I heard people say often, Top Rank has the best stable. I'm like, Crawford is a top ranked fighter. Those fights he's fighting is harder. They're gonna make him better, even if they don't make him more famous right now. They're gonna make him better. And if we look at the product that they put out with the Keyshawn Davises, even with a Shakur, with these guys, yeah, they don't have the cachet and the fandom, but are they good? That's going to be the problem, because eventually you're going to have to put your A-side fighter in there with somebody. See, you're going to end up putting him in there with a
no,
more skilled fighter. Go ahead.
no. The reason people were shocked, not because of what they were saying about Crawford and who he fought. It wasn't the resumes. That was just a talking point between boxing nerds, right? That was just boxing nerds going back and forth, right? The reason they were
Mhm.
shocked is because we watched Errol Spence Jr. go through Kell Brook, champions with belts. He went to each. He didn't wait to get the belt from two belts from Keith Thurman. He didn't go and do it like that. He went to each and every champion to snatch it, just like we like it in on the traditional side. That's what he did. He went to each champion and said, "Here I am. I'm Errol Spence Jr. Let me introduce myself. I'm taking your shit." That's what we loved about him. You know what I'm saying? That he went the traditional route, belt by belt by belt by belt. That's why people were surprised, because you saw how Errol Spence Jr. coming, right? He coming straight
Yeah.
for your shit. And that's why they love Spence. Not about no resumes. You know what I'm saying? Because like you say, resumes don't really mean nothing. But the man went in there, crashed into Sean Porter, crashed into Kell Brook. I'm talking about with his head down, and went in there like a man and faced these dudes. You saw that Sean Porter fight. God damn it. You saw it. You saw that Ugas fight. That's why they were surprised, because that's the way Errol Spence Jr. was coming. Now, he took the loss, but shit, every fight, takes a lot out of you. That dude, Floyd Mayweather, warned Errol Spence Jr. You can't fight every fight like that. These guys are still human beings. You know what I'm saying? And I could bring a lot of other shit into it. You know what I'm saying? I could bring a lot of other shit
Okay.
into
Well,
it now. You know what I'm saying?
okay.
Break shit.
What my
I could
rebuttal
break it down now.
Okay, well, my rebuttal to that would be, okay, that's cool. He did go. I mean, I was an Errol Spence fan. Don't get it twisted. I'm not a guy. I'm so like ride or die for one fight. I like boxing. So at that time, that was a great fight. Just like the
No,
Norman
I mean,
Haney fight to me is a great fight. Right. But one thing I would say, my rebuttal to, yes, Errol Spence did all that. Look good doing it. Don't get me wrong. But
right.
when we see that clip of Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence standing there, and Crawford say, "When I stop you, They gonna say the same thing. Something wrong with you, this and that. What if Errol Spence would have took that fight then? Are we singing Errol Spence praises today? You see what I mean? What if he went on and took the fight that they knew was the hardest? Everybody knew who Crawford was and he was coming. If you're a real boxing fan, you knew who he was and he was coming. If Errol Spence take that Crawford fight early, do we have Errol Spence?
I mean, who knows? You'll be doing the same thing that you're accusing everybody else of. Then you
Well,
see what
I'm
I'm
just
saying?
saying. So
You gotta,
sometimes these guys
you gotta
they
work.
fight certain fights
You
for a
gotta,
reason.
you gotta, huh? I mean, I'm
What I'm
trying to
saying
follow.
is, okay, let's look at it from a matchmaking standpoint. If you're a matchmaker and you're a
Right.
PBC matchmaker, do you match Errol with Terrence Crawford early, or do you say let's wait on that fight? Let's wait on the Terrence Crawford
They,
fight. Let's
they
go
wasn't even
get
in the
these fights
same
over
weight
here
class.
first, huh?
They wasn't even in the same weight
I'm
class.
saying once he
They
entered
wasn't.
147. I'm saying once Terrence Crawford entered 147. He took 5
I
years now.
mean,
You had 5
I
years.
mean, I don't know. As from a matchmaker point, I would, because I think they both were top elite type fighters and stuff. Now you saying like from like if you're trying to like get somebody who's bad for your style,
Yeah,
right?
because that's what
I've
matchmakers
seen
do.
I've
That's what they
seen
do. They pick the right
no, I'm
style for
just
the
saying
fighter.
that's kind of loaded. That's kind of loaded because you talk about from a matchmaker point. I don't think that's I think the thing that people loved about Errol is he didn't care about that shit. You know what I'm saying? He wanted to fight the dude with the belt. And that's what it was. That's why people love this guy, because he wasn't trying to match make. He went after belts. It was strap season. Win or lose, he didn't give a damn. He was going for the belts. If you had the belt, Aerosmith, he had a shirt where everybody had a door. You know what I'm saying? Everybody had a door on that shirt. And he said he's going after the belt. So you knew what he was doing. He was coming after the belt. So all that matchmaking stuff, you know what I'm saying, that's out the window. That's what the man tried to do. He unified 3 of the belts. Nobody even talk about that shit today because he lost to Bud Crawford at the end. At the end of the road, the man unified the division. You know what I'm saying?
But that,
So
I mean,
that's why he
heavy.
gets. I don't think it's about. See, you looking at the results. You know what I'm saying? Who did Crawford go through the division? You know what I'm saying? Did he go
But
through 147?
okay, what I'm saying is, if one guy is cleaning up his side of the street, you cannot say did Crawford go through the division. He didn't even have an opportunity to. So the question I'm gonna have to ask: do you think he would have went through the division?
That is beside the point, bro. You got to get the fights. And see, what I'm saying is you talking about his reputation, right? If you don't get the fights, you know what I'm saying? That's why people look at you a certain way. That's all I'm talking about. You trying to do all this revisionist shit to go over to relive that whole loss and everything. That shit is over and done with.
No, I'm
Crawford
not
is on
talking.
top now.
You
Go
missing my
ahead, go ahead.
point. I'm not talking about the loss. I'm not talking about the result. I was an Spence fan too. Don't get it. To me, it was just a great fight. One guy won. I'm not talking
I'm
about the
still
loss.
Errol
What I'm
Spence
saying
fan.
is how they look at Crawford. What I'm saying, he, like we just said, he was on top rank. He was caught up in politics, right? So in the process, Errol Spence was able to do these things that Crawford wasn't able to do. That's all I'm saying. He wasn't able to. He didn't get an
Well,
opportunity to do those
motherfuckers
things.
told him. They told him to leave top rank. I remember everybody was waiting on Crawford to leave top. We couldn't wait till Crawford left top rank because we know that. We know that Mayweather left top rank. You know what I'm saying? We know Cotto left top rank because they wouldn't get him the fights. You know what I'm saying? Look at Tio. You know what I'm saying? Top rank, you over at top rank, you are limited to what kind of fights you're gonna get. Now you are guaranteed a nice little purse. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But
that's
you're
the
gonna
problem.
miss
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Right. So we done had so many fighters. We're talking about it's more fighters than that left top rank. You know what I'm saying? Floyd had to buy his contract out. You know, I was like, Floyd, why don't you talk to Terrence? And he probably did talk to Terrence Crawford to leave top rank. All the welterweights at the time was over at PBC. Why not go? And he said, and I did not Terrence Crawford said decided it's not. That's Errol Spence Jr. That's his promotional company. So they thinking they're gonna put him over, put Errol Spence Jr. over him. You know what I'm saying? So he didn't really like the idea of going over to the PBC. And I was just like, what the hell is going on? Why is this guy and
But
that's when everything started. Hold on, let me finish this thought.
go ahead, go ahead,
That's
go
when
ahead.
everybody was like, this man business mind is off because he's looking at PBC like that's Aerosmith Jr. personal company. No, they're gonna embrace you just like they embrace Aerosmith Jr. They're not gonna bring you over and shelf you when everybody's calling for the fight. So I couldn't understand it at the time. And nobody was against Crawford. They just wanted him to come over where all the welterweights was and see what happens. And I think he missed that opportunity, but he came out just fine. So, I think that's just what it was. I don't think it wasn't nothing personal. It's just that he made some business moves that pissed a lot of people off,
Oh,
and he just
okay,
wasn't
no,
fucking with the PPC.
and like I said, that's true, and I think a lot of us think, and that's what I always say about Crawford. I said Crawford's not the star he was because he was with Top Rank. I said, would he have been a star with the PBC? Yeah, of course he would have. But I will say this: you got to think about it from his point of view. At the time, going to PBC would have been a pay cut. He's making all the money at Top Rank. Where the last 3 years before the
Four
Errol
million,
Spence
4
fight,
million.
huh?
He was
Say
making
it again.
4 million, right? He was making like 4 million a fight, right?
4 to 6 million, yeah,
That-
4 to 6 million.
yeah. hmm
Okay, so
I mean, I
at
don't know
that
what
time though, you got to think Errol Spence. Then,
pay cut.
but think,
How
huh?
you know it would have been a pay cut? How you know it would have been a pay cut though?
Well, let me. I'm trying to give you the point of view, right? I'm
What's up?
looking at the lawsuit that Terrence Crawford had against Bob Arum, right? So in the
Uh-huh.
lawsuit, it says before the because people don't know the lawsuit was because Bob Arum didn't make the Spence fight, right? Um,
hmm
in the lawsuit, it say up to the Spence fight in those 3 years, Crawford made $24 million. That's nothing to sneeze at. I don't care about pay-per-view. I don't care about none of it because at the time, guys on the PBC was getting $1.5 million, then they gamble on the back end on the pay-per-view. He was just like, man, I'm getting guaranteed money, get my guaranteed money. You see what I'm saying? So I get it. We can say that's bad decision, but according to the records, he was making a lot of money. He was making a lot more money than these guys. You see what I'm saying? So I get it why he stayed, but that prevented him probably from becoming a bigger star at that time, no doubt about it. But was it a bad business move? I really don't think so. I think the other side was a gamble. You see what I mean? We don't know how
But
that would have played out, but
but
we know
see,
what the guarantee played out.
respect. All I'm saying is, business wise, if you're talking about making money, it was a good move for him. Well, if you're talking about his reputation,
Yeah,
if
you're
that's
right.
what he was,
You're right.
that's
Yeah.
what as far as his reputation going to when you go to work, what I'm saying, you work, when you go to work, what I'm saying, you specialize in something. Where if everything what you specialize in is in another city, another state, that's where the hell you go. If that's where all the work at, that's where you go. You go to where you can make a whole lot more money than this little 4 6 million because you finna take over this division. You the best over here. PBC, you make yourself the star over here. That's why I said when um, Devin Haney offered Shakur Stevenson that little 25%, what I said, Shakur should have took that shit and went in there and whipped Devin's ass, and he would have been the man. Now the contracts is coming to him. You see what I'm saying? These fighters don't have that mentality no more. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to take less money just to become the star. You know what I'm saying? And then have the money. They don't think like that. They want the money up front and or you could go to hell. That's what they doing now. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
would have took that little bit just like Floyd, he took a 30-70 split with Oscar De La Hoya. Now, look who made the most money in boxing history? Floyd Mayweather. He became a star that night he beat Oscar De La Hoya. He became a star. You know what I'm saying? Nobody knew who after all them asses he beat, nobody knew who the hell Mayweather was until he fought the Golden Boy. I'm talking on the casual side. On the casual, we knew who he was in boxing. We saw Pretty Boy Floyd beating up Asia and Manfredi. You know what I'm saying? Diego Corrales. Well, we were Castillo. But he still wasn't a star. And look what Floyd did. He had to fight Oscar De La Hoya. He had to fight Oscar De La Hoya to become a star after all that shit he did. You know what I'm saying? And everybody just knew Floyd was a star. No, Not till he fought Oscar, bro. You know what I'm saying? Then he was Floyd Mayweather. So when you see it took Terrence this long, that was, like you said, he chose a wrong promotional company. You know what I'm saying? He should have left Bob a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? I think he would have been one of the biggest stars. He's one of the biggest now, but he's 38 years old now. You know what I'm saying? I guess better late than never, but I'm just saying if he wanted to be a bigger star, he could have done it because I don't think he was hard to beat. And he could have took out a lot of names back then. If he would have picked the way he picked now, or chose maybe got with an Al Heyman early or Turk Al-Rashid early, what I'm saying, his career probably would have done wonders. And if he would have did more interviews like other fighters, what I'm saying, just do the interview. We didn't have podcasting back then or social media. Bud came on before all that shit, and that's another reason he was on HBO. You know what I'm saying? I remember seeing the nigga on HBO. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
But
yeah.
of course you had Larry Merchant hating ass, and you had Jim Lampley hating ass on there. It wasn't until a Roy Jones Jr. came on till you start getting some honest commentary. They were hating on Mayweather. They were hating on all the black fighters. You know what I'm saying? So it was hard to get your recognition unless you was out there knocking out niggas that everybody know. You know what I'm saying? So boxing has always been like that. And I think that a lot of fighters like Triple G, he came in during a bad time. He
Yeah,
came in during a
yeah.
bad time. You know, if he would have came in during Bernard Hopkins, then we probably wouldn't have heard of no damn Triple G. You know what I'm saying? And nobody, only white people gave him credit for all them damn knockouts he got. Nobody knew who them guys was. You know what I'm saying? That's why I don't look at Triple G like he was shit. It wasn't until he fought Canelo Alvarez. And look how that fight went. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? They went life
Well,
and
he
death.
won that first fight. Shit, he won that first fight though. Should have.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
but
he should have won
but
the
he didn't.
first fight.
But did he look like the Terminator?
Nah, nah, nah.
No, no. You fought somebody on your level. Now, if he
Yeah,
would have fought Andre Ward, what would have happened to him? You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? They got Andre Ward straight smooth out the way. So everybody gets protected to a certain degree. You know what I'm saying? And then he stayed in the amateurs until the coast was clear. That nigga got about 500 goddamn amateur fights. You could have came out when you was 25 or when you was 24. No, it's still some niggas up in there. You know what I'm saying? It's still some niggas
Yeah.
up in there where I want to fight. So they strategic. You got a whole go ahead.
That's why I always try to tell people, man. Me, I look at the matchmaking. I see I try to look at how they matching fighters up to the public or to the casual. They thinking these guys being matched up, they just fighting everybody, and they really not. Because every you got a fighter. When they're younger, the trainers matchmake for them. You see what I'm saying? As you get to the bigger promotional companies, they have matchmakers. Those matchmakers don't make all that money just to look at box rec and just pick fights. You see what I mean? They're picking a lot of stuff. They're moving the fighter a lot of time based on style. So if people pay attention to, they can
Yeah.
see that. So when you talk about Shakur versus Devin, understand Shakur versus Devin would have been a tougher matchup, and that's what Shakur telling you. I don't want to fight Devin at the heavier weights or whatever because it's a tougher matchup because they're both
Mm,
boxers. They're gonna mirror each other to some degree. But Shakur versus Tank favors Shakur matchup, but to the casual fan, it favors Tank. So that makes it a good fight. But Shakur knows this matchup favors me better than Devin. So I'm gonna push for a Tank fight versus push for a Devin fight. That's all matchmaking, man. Understanding the styles make fights. So I just say when you look at these fighters, look who they fought. I don't care. You can look at the name and names are good. Don't get me wrong, because they resonate with the public. But you better look at the styles. So if you look at Canelo fighting Berlanga and Munguia, guys that were just gonna be right there and standing right there, it didn't prepare him for a Crawford. You see what I mean? That's them styles did not prepare him for a guy that was gonna move, make him move his feet, make him do stuff that he didn't have to do the last 3 or 4 fights. You see what I mean? So styles make fights.
mm.
That's one thing. The trilogy thing might not work, but styles make fights, and that's gonna always be consistent, man. But appreciate you letting me come up, man. I'm gonna get out of here, man. I'll be in the chat though.
All right, respect. Hey,
All
thank you
right.
for coming up, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
that was
I'm subscribe. I'm gonna subscribe to you right now.
all right. Yeah, I like the way you think.
Okay.
Let me see. Some of these chat says say he never wanted to be a star too. You know what I'm saying? And let me see some of these comments because I was so involved. Let's see. Let's go back. Some of Bud continue to play the video. Yeah, I hate hearing that shit. He said he didn't believe in his ability to sell. Yeah, because the man bombed every pay-per-view, but if he would have had the names, he would have sold. That's all I'm saying. If he could have got the names, and maybe that's part of, because he really feels some kind of way about not being a star. It's weird because he has this energy like he don't want the limelight, but then it's almost like he's denying that part of the business, saying that, because right now he's basking in the celebrity of being, undisputed 3 times, right? So clearly he likes something about it, right? So, but coming up, I guess you tell yourself, well, they don't fuck with me, so, I don't fuck with that star shit. So that's the kind of attitude he had. But I'm saying, bro, you got to do the interviews. You got to do the side that Fulton don't seem to like, you know. So he's not going to be a star if he don't like doing interviews and say just doing the PR shit. Get you a PR team. If you want your name up there so people, resonate towards you. You know what I'm saying? David Benavidez don't look like he like interviews, but he be in there just talking and doing what he got to do. You just got to do that side of it. Basketball players come in, football players, they be tired, man. They don't be wanting to come in and do no goddamn interviews, but they do what they got to do, and plus it's part of their contract. But in boxing, it's not a part of your well, some things are, and some things not. But it shows on your face if you fan friendly, and if you're not fan friendly, this is an unfriendly business. It shows in your pay-per-views numbers. If people don't like your ass, they ain't gonna pay to see your fights, right? And I don't care how great. I don't care if you go out there and you knock out 5 niggas in a row in the same night. I think it was George Foreman did some shit like that where he fought like 3 or 4 fighters in the same night, and knocked them out. They still didn't like his ass. You know what I'm saying? So, unless you do the PR work and you do the, you do the public, interviews and stuff, people don't know who you are. And you walk around like, you got an attitude and all this kind of shit. They're not gonna like you, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because you just walk around like you ready to whip everybody ass, you know what I'm saying? Because you was rejected, you know what I'm saying? And that's just a chip on your shoulder. Now that may make you a great fighter. It may make you, keep you hot inside and keep the flame burning because every fighter got some kind of weird psychological shit because to go in the ring and get beat on and have another profession, you got to be a little crazy. You got to be a little crazy. You know what I'm saying? So I think, Crawford just had that right temperament because everybody wanted to see him, I don't think everybody wanted to see him fail, but he just failed that way. He just felt that way. And me against the world, and it helped him. Helped keeping him tip top to prove everybody wrong. And I think he's stuck in that mode right now. He's stuck in that mode. He says they don't want to bet on themselves. Right, that's the fighters today. Crawford is from another era. So he's not of fighters today. He's from fighters from Ward and saying he's kind of like in that in between area, where he kind of crossed the bridge over that, Errol Spence Jr. didn't get started boxing until 2012. Crawford had already been fighting for 4 or 5 years, or So, he was just learning to box during that damn time. Well, no, he was in the Olympics. Let me see. I got to go back and look at that shit. Well, he started late, So he wasn't boxing all his life. He says Bud wanted big money for easy fights while he sat back and plot and playing on the belts. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? We know this shit because you saw how he targeted Canelo, right? Even though I never thought Canelo was what everybody say he was. You know what I'm saying? I never thought of him as a great fighter. I just didn't. You know what I'm saying? I just seen how he moved and I was disgusted by it when he let go the belts and stuff when he's supposed to fight Jamel Charlo. That would have been a good fight. Let me see. He said, you sure that the split between it was 70-30, something like that. Let me see. We could look it up. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. We could look it up. Let me see. Shit. That's why you got Google, my nigga. Let me see. What was the money split between? Let me see. Let me look it up real quick. Between Floyd, between Mayweather. Let me put it that way. Mayweather and Oscar De La Hoya. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Uh, it says Oscar earned 52 million and Floyd earned 25 million. So Oscar earned 52 million for the fight. Floyd Floyd earned 25 million. So basically, shit, he got half. You see, that's about half. Half. I don't know how much everything shook out on the back end, if it was anything, if it had back end back then. But he made 25 million and Oscar earned 52. That's a big difference. But Oscar was the golden boy. And Floyd, that was his probably his biggest payday. And plus he became a star. So take the short end money, in my opinion. But in these spaces, it's always been 70-30. I don't know what that comes out to be, but it looked like half. You know what I'm saying? That looked like half. You know what I'm saying? It said the pay-per-view did 140 million in pay-per-views. That's huge. Let me see. What's that 100? Let me see. See, damn, nigga, goddamn. Let's see. It did 140 million in pay-per-views. Okay. It says the revenue generated was 165 million with Oscar De La Hoya earning the highest first in boxing history at the time. So yeah, Floyd got 25, Oscar got 52 million. So Google's is our friend. So Floyd took short end money just to get the starter. You know what I'm saying? He could have turned that shit down and said, did like Shakur. You know what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck how much it is. If you can get that number one spot, you know what I'm saying, and you become the man, you do that shit. You know what I'm saying? Do it. Get it done. So he never, yeah, okay, I read that. Let me see. B Dog says it was something like that. He said Floyd might have taken, yeah, he took less. He took less just to take that man's spot, you know? He says Bud Crawford had to realize there's two keys in the city. It was white key and the black key. And we all know this. I mean, come on, man. I don't know why people be acting like, they suspend the reality that there's not, this agenda in boxing. It just is. Black people always had the agenda, what I'm saying, to, keep our name out of the greatness, so people they just don't want to admit that, so it just is what it is. He said, let's be honest, this Buck Crawford knew that smoke was out. Yeah, of course, you know, but I don't think he was scared. I just think, what I'm saying, he just didn't want to do business with the PPC. It's something weird, but he just thought that was it was going to prioritize Errol Spence Jr. over him, and he couldn't. He got Bud got an ego, bro. He said, Shane already said that Devin don't listen. Said Bill took Devin to the best trainers boxing can offer. Okay. He said Oscar was guaranteed 52 million, and Floyd was guaranteed 25. Oh yeah, he just put that in the chat. hmm Excuse me, y'all, for a second. Excuse me, y'all, for a second. B Dog said PBC would have marketed him way better. Yeah, I think so too. He said he would have been fights that sell, but a lot of people don't believe that. They believe that Bud was so good that the whole PBC was afraid of Bud Crawford. So, and that's the lore in the mystic side of Crawford. What I'm saying, everybody was so afraid of him that the whole promotional company, what I'm saying, they seen his style and thought it was all bad for the whole entire crew. And so everybody ducked Bud. So that's the narrative on, everybody who worshiped Bud Crawford. PBC matchmakers looked at Crawford like, oh no, oh my God. I said, Bud Crawford, what I'm saying, he's gonna wipe out our whole stock value. He's gonna whip everybody ass. We can't bring him in. Man, like, come on, bro. Stop. He says, Oscar goes in to say that he was the man. I know it's going to bring out, I know the Bud buddies out there listening. They go, them motherfuckers for the rally up. Somebody said, Bud. What I'm saying? Them motherfuckers go, Bud Crew symbol. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna come up here and we're gonna be having the same discussions we had in back in 2019, 20 and shit. This is Julian Rombley says Oscar goes in to say that he was the man. He was the man. He had leverage and he was able to negotiate a 90-10 split. You know, so yeah, I mean, everybody knew he was the golden boy. Shit, I was watching Oscar De La Hoya way before Mayweather came around. What, 96? 96 or something. Shit, I mean, Oscar was already fighting and shit. You know what I'm saying? Sweet Pete Whitaker and Chavez, and that's who I grew up on. This was before the Nets. This was before the net stockings and all that shit and the goddamn spatulas. You know what I'm saying? This was before all that. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, Oscar was well respected. I think Oscar was more respected than Canelo. You know what I'm saying? Because he did take out Chavez. So, and then he didn't shy away from fighting slick boxers like Sweet Pea Whitaker. He didn't shy away from it. He got knocked down by Ike Quarterly. You know what I'm saying? He went toe to toe with Bernard Hopkins. You know what I'm saying? That dude was on a whole nother motherfucking level. Canelo can't come nowhere near Oscar De La Hoya's his resume or his legacy. Now fucking money wise, yeah. Canelo, he did his shit, you know what I'm saying? But he took advantage of the system and he manipulated the system, you know what I'm saying, into his advantage. So, you know, he says bloody knockout makes shocking claim about the financial split for his fight with well, I mean, he don't really need it, you know what I'm saying? I think everybody knew that. I think it was uh nobody was in denial that Oscar was the draw. You know what I'm saying? Everybody knew he was the draw. He says that's why they are trying to hustle Tank into a big payday. You know, Tank. Tank. He was. I guess they knew of his mental. They knew that. They seen the attitude. They saw what they saw. They saw that he was done with the sport, or he was just. The pressures were getting to him. So you got to make arrangement. They business people. So you got to prepare. You got to prepare because you don't know what this guy is going to do. He's going to show up for the date. You know what I'm saying? He come from Baltimore, and I know people like, hey man, be careful. You know what I'm saying? But Baltimore, when you come from, you get like look at Tyson. You never know what these guys gonna do. You know what I'm saying? What he told to do? I eat your ass. He said, I eat your children. You know what I'm saying? Nobody like, damn, Tyson, what the fuck going on? You know what I'm saying? I eat your ass, nigga. I'll screw you and all kind of shit. I was like, man, these guys are crazy. And Tank, when you got a lot of you come from a lot of emotional trauma and shit like that. People don't look at that shit with men. The shit we go through. You see your friends get smoked and all this kind of shit. You see people get brutally destroyed off the earth, and people that's close to you. And he come from that shit. He come from that kind of background. Where all your friends around you not making it and dying young, and what I'm saying, people that you was close to, and you were in the shit too, and you saw people rap before you. All that dumbass hood shit. You know what I'm saying? So he comes from that and it affects you. You can move on like everything's normal, but you see how he get triggered sometimes. It's almost like post-traumatic stress disorder. And I think a lot of these kids suffer from that, because they come from war zones and they come from, these these gangs and survival situations, what I'm saying? And the shit is real. It ain't real for us who try to get away from that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because yeah, your boy done been in many situations. You know what I'm saying? Because I was in the hood too, but the hood done changed. The hood wasn't as bad as it is now. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we had people still going to church back then. You know what I'm saying? People believed in shit. They don't believe in shit now. They will smoke your ass. You know what I'm saying? Over a motherfucking Newport. You know what I'm saying? Smoke your ass over a Black and Mile and shit. If a motherfucker come up to you talking about, can I get that half a Black and Mile? You better give it to him. You know what I'm saying? It's like shit. Before the shit was like, you know what I'm saying? The hood is different now, bro. These kids, they wasn't raised with no Jesus. You know what I'm saying? When I was a kid, Jesus was white. You know what I'm saying? Jesus was white and he was kind and gentle. You know what I'm saying? That's how you were raised on. It wasn't till later till you did your own studies that you're like, wait a minute, this dude. This dude was born, over in the Mediterranean and all that area. Ain't no damn white people over there. You know what I'm saying? So you had to learn this shit as you get older, as you get wiser. But these kids in the hood, they stuck in that mentality. They wasn't raised with no kind of Bible idealistic ways to be kind to your neighbor, all the Ten Commandments shit. They wasn't raised. They didn't have to go to church. Their mama didn't put grease on their face and what they call them shoes, Buster Brown shoes and shit, and march your ass into the church so you can learn some shit to be kind to other people. These kids don't know nothing about that. And their fathers, with the crack epidemic that went through the neighborhood, it was a lot of missing fathers, you know what I'm saying? With jail, the incarceration, and all that. So we had a whole generation grow up with no guidance. And we seeing it. All them people that were born in the 90s, the millennials, you know what I'm saying? They came out, you know what I'm saying, wanting to be kind and gentle because you know, Generation X was hard on them, you know what I'm saying? So they wanted to be soft on their kids. And soft kids leads to criminals. And that's just my point of view. You know what I'm saying? Well, you don't take them to church and you don't give them no structure, right? Um, so we just looking at an outlaw generation. You know what I'm saying? And Generation Z is even fucking worse because they'll smoke your ass. You know what I'm saying? At the gas station for no, you can't go to a gas station in Chicago, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? The gas stations is where it goes down. You know what I'm saying? Let that motherfucker skip you. It's always gonna be a nigga with no shirt, with baby dreads. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna come over there and just try to cash in his $2 lottery ticket while you are already there and shit trying to conduct your business. They just gonna come in, you know what I'm saying, and bogart their way over you. You better not say shit because they're gonna shoot you. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot that the times have changed, is what I'm saying. And there's no conscience. So I think Javante Tank Davis grew up, like that. So, and he still got that attitude, you know what I'm saying, to where, he don't want nobody trying him. He don't want to suffer no humiliations because, the people he answered to and he look up to are in the hood. So those are the people who going to talk shit, to him. And he can't face that kind of criticism. So it's a lot. It's a lot. He should be a professional and be able to take it, but he don't look at it that way. It's more of a personal thing. It's his identity is wrapped up into this shit. You know what I'm saying? So he can't take no losses. He just got that kind of soft mentality, where he can't compartmentalize it in his head that everybody takes a loss, bro. You know what I'm saying? So challenge yourself, but he don't look at shit like that. So, and this is career, so he could do what the hell he want to do. You know what I'm saying? It just is what it is. Yeah, Mike was intense, man. Mike was on a different level. And because he was heavyweight, I think he got a pass. And because he could knock out people, when you can knock out people, people give you a pass. You give us exciting fights. Shit is like the gladiator sports in Rome. You know what I'm saying? Slaves rose up to the equal of emperors, right? Because they could go out there and they could survive. You know what I'm saying? The arena. You know what I'm saying? So boxing is the same way. People give you a pass, no matter how despicable you are. You know what I'm saying? People will give you a pass, if you entertain them. Are you not entertained? Are you not remember that shit from Gladiator? Are you not entertained? You bastards. Are you not entertained? You know what I'm saying? And that's how we live today. You know what I'm saying? As long as you entertain us, we don't give a rat's ass. You know, he said you could never live in my world. You know, mm. What you are like, aristocratic type thing? Like the noble class, because it's all kind of classes, even the nobility. Even nobility likes violence. I ain't gonna say all nobility or people that's upper middle class. You got doctors, lawyers. Watch boxing and love the violence. And that's all it is. Let's not dress it up like we cover it up in the sport, but we love a bloody. We love that fight with Tim Tszyu and Pandora. We loved it. You know what I'm saying? That shit got bloody as hell, and we was like, oh my god, this shit is good. You know what I'm saying? Even the lawyers. You got judges. You know what I'm saying? You got all walks of life when it comes to man to man, mano mano type shit. You know what I'm saying? It just, we love it. You know. This is And Michael, Mike dealt with all that. That's back when the Booty Warrior was around. You know what I'm saying? So he had to deal with, I don't know if that shit goes on today, where, guys, when they went to jail, it was like that. You know what I'm saying? So, Mike had that really on the outside in New York, Brownsville, New York. You had to look out for the bandits, man. It's like people took advantage of kids. Um, I'm back. My damn phone went out. Yeah, my phone went out. Yeah, oh shit. I'm talking so damn much I didn't even. Can you hear me now? Yeah, I was talking so damn much, man. My damn phone, I ain't watched the damn juice. It went out. Yeah, my phone went out. Can you hear me now? Let's see, let me try to put a one in the chat. Yeah. So y'all should be able to hear me now. Let me see. Can you hear me now? Let me see if I yeah, y'all should be able to hear me. Yeah, so that's what it is, man. Can you hear me now too? Y'all put a one in the chat if you can hear me. Somebody put a one in the chat if you can hear me, man, because I just put it, trying to see check this auto system. Yeah, my phone went out. Yeah. Yeah, but they be tripping, man. They be really on some other shit. And it's hard to know what these guys are going through outside of boxing, right? Because they still have these allegiances and they still got ties to saying that underworld, and they still got these friends around them that they pulling them away from the sport, pulling them into different activities. So, and then they still carrying this chip on their shoulder, where they still got the behaviors, like if you're in the limelight, you're a celebrity, you can't do shit that you used to do. Like even Terrence Crawford said, I'm a different person than I was, right? I'm a different person. He don't do the shit that, and plus he's grown up, he's 38. So, you're not a young boy no more, what I'm saying? Now you're taking care of people, you got more responsibilities. You don't run your life like you were when you were 18, 20, and you got more responsibilities. You got a house, you got car payments, all these things forces you to look at life from an adult point of view. So as you mature in life, I think Tank is what, 30 years old, 29, 30, something like that. You know, if you're 29 and 30, shit, you done seen some stuff, and then you got good mentors like Kevin Ford. I don't know nothing about Kevin Ford. I don't know if he's a good mentor or not, but he seemed like the kind of dude that could keep you centered, somebody you could look up to, right? And so, I just think, you gotta learn from the people around you to make you better, right? So you gotta take advantage of what you got. You may not have the best mentors, but you know who's doing right and who can teach you some shit to be a better person. That's all I'm saying. You know, and even if you need to get some counseling, whatever, do what you got to do. Take a break. And a lot of us on the black side don't know how to do that. We just kind of throw shit in the back burner and deal with it. But eventually that stuff comes to the surface, and I think that's what we're seeing with Tank. He just a lot of his insecurities is coming to the surface. He hid it for a long time, but all of the bizarre, tweets and behaviors, now you see where that kind of derives from. That's all. So, you know, that's all it is, bro. You know. So, you know, I don't know how many of y'all gonna watch that Jake Paul fight. I know a lot of people saying they hate it, but I guarantee you, most of the people in here probably gonna watch that damn Jake Paul fight. Y'all gonna be all over that shit. I bet a lot of y'all gonna be on top of it, you know. But yeah, that just kind of broke the mood and everything. I think 3 hours, so yeah, pretty good, for me talking for so goddamn long. You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying, what's tomorrow? Okay, I got to deliver tomorrow. No, I got to pick up tomorrow. Got to get that in my head. So, we'll come back, what I'm saying, probably on Tuesday and talk some more shit about this boxing. You know what I'm saying? But I'd like to thank 2 Cents, what I'm saying, B Dog, what I'm saying. I don't see my other 300 that came in, but they, I know they'll check out the replay. What I'm saying, Julian Romley, what's going on? Appreciate you coming through, bro. What I'm saying? We'll catch you guys in the next live stream. I'll try to get somewhere with some good internet connection and we won't have all these breaks and stuff. But I'm on the road, so I'm trying to keep it up. That's how we do. What I'm saying? I guess I'll see you guys in the next live stream on Tuesday. Peace out, y'all. I'm saying, thank you for coming through. All right, peace out, yeah. Should we end the stream?